Thumbtack presents the ins and outs of caring for your home. Out. Uncertainty, self-doubt, stressing about not knowing where to start. In. Plans and guides that make it easy to get home projects done. Out. Word art. Sorry, live, laugh, lovers. In. Knowing what to do, when to do it, and who to hire. Start caring for your home with confidence. Download Thumbtack today.
This is a mini meditation guided by Bombas. Repeat after me. I'm comfy. I'm cozy. I have 0 blisters on my toes. And that's because I wear Bombas, the softest socks, underwear, and t-shirts that give back. One purchased equals one donated. Now go to bombas.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/Wondery and use code WONDERY at checkout.
You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, then you're charged, month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore. Now, boom, you're saving more money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/Wondery today. That's rocketmoney.com/Wondery. rocketmoney.com/Wondery.
This week, in Lenexa, Kansas, a vicious serial killer uses lies and promises of jobs to lure women into his horrifying trap of murder and strange perversions. Welcome to Small Town Murder. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Small Town Murder.
Yay!
Oh, yay indeed, Jimmy. Yay indeed. My name is James Petrogallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I'm Jimmy Wisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us today on another absolutely crazy edition of Small Town Murder. We have another serial killer this week.
Oh!
Didn't plan on having two within 3 weeks of each other with Haddon Clark a couple weeks ago or whatever, but this is a completely different guy than Haddon Clark. Couldn't be more different. This is almost like if BTK had social skills. This is who he would be. Put it that way. Yeah, BTK was weird. Nobody liked him.
Yeah.
If he was a good con man, he would be this guy. This would be his dream, would be to be this guy. I'm sure he was looking at him with wide-eyed admiration the whole time this was happening. So we'll talk about all that and more. First of all, head over to shutupandgivememurder.com. Get your tickets to live shows. First of all, get your ticket to the virtual live show, because that's our next live show. Yeah. Anywhere you are in the world with an internet connection, it is just like a regular live show, except you're in your living room, and we are going to be doing the same thing with the screen and the jokes and the story. It's the 420 virtual live show, April the 19th. It's available for 2 weeks after that, so get your tickets now. I am going to have some crazy smoking apparatuses to show Jimmy and force him to smoke out of. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We can't wait. Then get your tickets to regular live shows as well. The next ones are in May, St. Louis and Chicago. St. Louis, I think, is sold out. So Chicago is your best bet.
Unbelievable.
You guys are great. All the shows for the rest of the year are selling very fast. A few are already sold out. So if you would like to go, you need to get them right now. Shutupandgivememurder.com. As well as you should listen to Crime and Sports and Your Stupid Opinions, our other two shows. Crime and Sports, we're in the middle of a long Evel Knievel series, which is insane. Vince McMahon just entered the picture, so you want to check that out. And then you want to get Patreon. Patreon.com/CrimeInSports is where you get all the bonus material. Anybody, $5 a month or above, you are going to get, first of all, hundreds of back episodes you've never heard, and then new ones every other week, one Crime and Sports and one Small Town Murder. This week for Crime and Sports, we are going to do part 2 of sports songs, athletes singing songs. We have Chris Webber rapping, more of Manny Pacquiao doing whatever the hell he was doing. It's going to be a lot of fun. Then for Small Town Murder, we have an amazing crazy con man, a guy from New York City from the 1980s named Louis Carlucci, otherwise known as Con Juan or the Con Man Casanova, who had like multiple wives and like he had all this crazy stuff going on in the 80s and no one knew who he really was. He had like aliases and he was like this weird phantom ghost who just extracted money from people. It's hilarious. We'll talk about that and more. Patreon.com/crime in sports. And you get a shout out at the end of the show as well. That said, disclaimer, this is a comedy show, everybody.
It is, yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean the story isn't true. Sadly, every detail of the stories are insanely true.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about these murders is there's no need to make anything up. It's all insane. And you might go, well, how does that make it? How's that funny? Well, there's a lot of stuff that's funny. Obviously, the murder itself isn't funny. There's nothing funny about dismembering somebody and, stuffing them into your crawl space. That's not really funny. But to sit and go, well, if I buy enough air fresheners, nobody will smell the body that I stuffed into my crawl space. That's funny. That's undeniably funny. So that's where that comes from. What we don't do is we never make fun of the victims or the victims' families.
Why, James?
Because we're assholes, but we're not scumbags.
There you go.
See how that works? It's very good. So if you think that if true crime and comedy should never go together, maybe we're not for you. But if you want to hear a crazy story, I think we are for you, and I think you want to hear this. And either way, no complaining later. That said, I think it's time to sit back, everybody. Let's all clear the lungs here, and let's all shout. Shut up and give me murder. Let's do this, everybody.
Okay.
Let's go on a trip, shall we? Let's do this. We are going to Lenexa, Kansas.
Yeah.
Lenexa, Lenexa. Lenexa, which sounds like sounds like a brand of a printer from the 90s. Oh, I got a Lenexa bubble jet Lenexa. It's real good. Yeah, like a dandruff shampoo. Got some flakes there, Jimmy. You should really try some Lenexa.
It reseeds where the hair fell out.
I think it's going to be good for you.
It encourages growth.
It promotes growth.
Yeah.
It's in northeastern Kansas. It's about 20 minutes to Kansas City. It's a suburb outside of KC. About 3.5 hours to Kingman, Kansas, which is our last Kansas episode, which was called Dead with No Head. Which, I don't know, I usually don't rhyme in the titles, but apparently I went with a rhyme that time.
It's not a good way to be.
No, good episode, though. I know that. This is in Johnson County, area code 913, and their motto, I really hope they didn't pay a company to come up with this when they were branding. I hope not. Quote, I like Lenexa. That's it. I like Lenexa.
One guy telling you, yeah.
Is it because Eisenhower is from Kansas and...
I like
Ike was his slogan. Is that why they're doing it, you think? Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe. A little bit of history of this town here. 12 years before it was even platted, James Butler Hickok, you might know him as Wild Bill. Wild Bill Hickok staked a claim on 160 acres, what is now the corner of 83rd Street and Clare Road.
No shit.
Yeah, but Wild Bill.
That was Wild Bill.
Found this, yeah. The claim was filed in 1857, and it was not far from the Kansas River and was 20 miles southwest of Westport, Missouri, which was the start of the Santa Fe Trail. In 1858, Hickok was elected as one of the first 4 constables of nearby Monticello Township.
No shit.
So here's reviews. 5 stars. I like Lenexa. Okay.
We've been told.
This may be the city's motto, but it holds true for everyone I've spoken to that lives in Lenexa. She's doing a door-to-door survey on this, canvassing.
Yeah.
Just
checking if you like it.
From the food to the beautiful nature, Lenexa is a place no one will ever forget.
Lenexa gets the credit for the food, huh?
I guess so. 2 stars. I hate the weather here. It's always either too hot or too cold, humid, and always very windy. The temperature always fluctuates during the seasons and the day. It could be snowing one day in May, and the next day it'll be 70 degrees. That sounds like the Midwest in the spring. Colorado's the same way. It's the same shit.
Sounds like anywhere where it snows.
Yeah, it happens. People in this town, 56,755. It's grown a good amount in the last 20 years, a lot, which is after our story took place. Male, there's more males than females here, which is odd. It's really a strange thing, slightly, but more. The median age here, it's so average. The median age is 38.3. In the nation, it's 38.4. So they're right on. Right there. It's a very kind of a lot of married families and shit here. 58% married. It's 50-50 in the rest of the country. Race in this town, 79.7% white, 5.3% black, 3.8% Asian, and 8.4% Hispanic. Religious, 56% religious in this area, too. So,
that's steep, isn't it?
And the most are Catholics somehow. I don't know how. Really? 19.5. We snuck in there, I guess. Yeah, that's odd. Catholics are the Baptists of, I don't even know, Missouri, Kansas, the Midwest, the wheat belt, I guess we'll say. Unemployment rate is very low here, 3.2%, which is even lower than the national average, which is pretty low. Median household income, very high here, too, $96,477 a year.
Well, what is that about?
That's a lot. It's just a wealthy little suburb.
Commutable?
Yeah, you can. It's 20 minutes to Kansas City if you don't want to live in Kansas City. And I guess I'm sure there's more crime, probably smaller properties, stuff like that. You don't want to. You want to avoid him at all costs. Usually, you want to avoid Joe Buck. The
shampoos with Lenexa.
Absolutely. Cost of living, that's how he got all his hair back.
Yeah.
The cost of living here, it is 106 out of 100, so a little bit higher than the average. The median home cost is actually higher than the national average, which you wouldn't expect for suburban Kansas. But median home cost here, $404,300.
Jesus.
Which seems a little bit steep. But let's find out what they have here with the Lenexa, Kansas Real Estate Report. Average two-bedroom rental here goes for $1,400 a month, which is above the average. Yeah. Here's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,100 square foot house. So not that big of a house, really, at all. It's a standard little ranch house. Inside, pretty dull. Everything's about 10, 15 years old. It's, it's fine. $285,000 though for that, which seems
livable, but it's nothing.
It seems a little high to live in Kansas. I don't know. Here's a 5-bedroom, 5-bath, so T-bowl for each and every b-hole right here. 3,406 square feet, so good size house. It's really weird though. They've done the inside, redid it and all, and it's very strange. Let me show you a picture of the kitchen. Look at the back. It's got the black countertops with that weird. Oh,
it's that little subway tile.
It's little black subway tiles.
Yeah,
little
with
tiny
white
ones.
ground. You got to break that up,
dude.
man.
It's weird, man.
It looks like static. It looks like TV snow.
Because I can see they have
so small.
They have one black subway tile, and the next to it is one that's black and gray, and they mix them all together.
Oh, is
that's
why it does that?
Yeah. So it looks like
it looks like snow.
Looks like there's no channel coming in here. Yeah.
No good.
No good. So $600,000 for that though.
Really?
Yeah. No land, just a small plot.
3,500 square feet of house.
It's a good house, good amount of house, but that's expensive. Here's a 4-bedroom, 5-bath, so T-bowl for all your b-holes again, 4,150 square feet, so big old house. It's pretty nice actually inside. I mean, it's an expensive, nice house. It has a golf simulator in there. Like a big golf simulator thing, like at one of those bars, where douchebags go.
You just drill balls into the screen.
Yeah, and pretend like you're golfing while you're drunk. So, I mean, it's got a lot of nice touches, a lot of clearly expensive touches. Yeah. And that's a good thing because it's $2,500,000 for that house. So you have to play on the Royals or on the Chiefs offensive line or something to fucking afford that.
$2 million.
$2 million.
The taxes here have to be goddamn rock bottom.
I would imagine and I can't imagine there'd be much of a
property taxes through the roof.
No. People would leave there.
Kansas?
Yeah, there's not a lot holding people to Kansas, I would think, because you could just move to Missouri, or there's a lot of states to move around to. Also,
right here. Yeah,
so
I'll jump on the river and flow downstream away.
I'll just float to Louisiana if I have to. Things to do here: the Great Lenexa Barbecue Battle.
Okay.
We're going to have a fucking throwdown right now.
Yeah.
Who's in? Hundreds of pitmasters compete in the Great Lenexa Barbecue Battle each year. The battle is the state's largest barbecue competition, which
Pitmasters. Yeah.
Pitmasters. In 1984, Governor John Carlin declared it the official Kansas State Championship. This is the official here.
This is the big one.
This tells you can have the best ribs in the state. Governor decreed. So they hosted it, sanctioned by the Kansas City Barbecue Society.
Oh,
yeah,
masterpiece themselves.
They they have a lot of power. You have no idea. They can have you thrown in jail for nothing, really. They have the power to ticket vehicles. Just in Kansas City, the barbecue really rules the roost. I mean, anything.
Bring you up on charges.
Anything could happen. So it started in '82 with 12 teams and 12 judges and no prize money. Now it attracts 200 teams of grill people, and the grand champion wins $3,000, which doesn't seem like a lot for 200 teams competing for.
If you took $20 per team.
Well, think about what it costs to go there with all your stuff.
Yeah.
To make like a bunch of barbecue, you got to buy all the meat, which is expensive. All the sauce, you got to make that. You got the fucking, you're going to smoke it or whatever. You got to get all that shit, and you got to carry it there, get a trailer. $3,000 doesn't seem, you're barely breaking even probably, even if you win.
Depends on how far you came from, too, because if you've got a truck dragging a trailer with your pit boss on the back of it,
that's a lot.
That's not gonna, it's a lot of gas to get there and back.
Fuck yeah. The judging begins at 11:30, and the results shared around 4:30 p.m. Competition day is focused on the contest. Activities for kids will be available, it says. So they won't be able to handle the pure competition that's happening here. We'll have a bouncy house.
And honey and mesquite and applewood. You better get your kid out of here.
Now, let's say barbecue isn't your thing.
No.
Maybe you're not. Maybe you're on a diet or you got some health problems. Well, then you want to go to the Spinach Festival instead. Which you can't get two more opposite festivals than the Spinach Festival.
What is it?
The barbecue.
Steamed, creamed, and
right
salad.
out of the can,
That's
Popeye
the only
style.
way you can have spinach.
And squeeze the can into your mouth. Those are the
can squeeze.
Can squeeze spinach. So they say the family-oriented Lenexa Spinach Festival, because you know the kids, there's nothing more they like than spinach.
It's their favorite.
Can't get them to stop eating it. You got to hide the spinach in the house when the kids are around. Packed with food, music, entertainment, hands-on activities, and craft vendors, experience the world's largest spinach salad. Oh boy, that's not see it, experience it. You experience the spinach salad. You don't fucking see it. Holy shit. You can also submit your favorite dish to our recipe contest. There's plenty to do for everyone in the family, it says here. So your recipe contest, you can either do an appetizer, salad, entree, or dessert. There's 4 categories. Right. You prepare your best spinach recipe and turn it at the Lion's Shelter.
Turn it out.
Turn it in and turn it out. Local restaurants and food establishments are invited to provide a spinach dip for the event.
Okay. Oh, there's dip too.
There's
I forgot
dip.
about that.
Yeah,
one.
there's definitely a dip here.
Yeah.
Festival patrons may sample the dips and vote for their favorite. A winner will be chosen for the cold spinach dip and hot spinach dip categories.
Cold is gross, hot is good.
And
hot has cheese in it.
That's
Cold
good.
is just like sour cream.
Congealed
it's
weird
gross.
shit. Yeah, that's not as good.
I don't like that.
So winners receive a green ribbon, of course, instead of the blue ribbon.
You know.
Crime rate in this town, what we're interested in here is it's not bad here. Property crime is about 1/4 below the national average. So a little bit low, and then violent crime, murder, rape, robbery, and, of course, assault, the Mount Rushmore of crime, is about half the national average.
Wow.
So a pretty damn safe little town going on here, I would say. That said, let's talk about some absolute horrors that happened around here and all around the area. Wow. Okay. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about a guy here. And this case, a lot of other shows have covered this. It's one of those... Oh. He's a serial killer, so a lot of people have covered his stuff. And I've had this guy on the list since about 2017 when we started this fucking thing. He was one of the first people I put on the list, and somehow haven't done it. I don't know how. It never happened. It was always like, oh, we'll get to that guy, and then a lot of other people did it, but we're going to do it because we're going to put our spin on it, and also not only that, there's no spin to put on it. We're just going to talk about it in a different way than other people do.
Do it in our way. Yeah.
So let's talk about John Edward Robinson the third. He is.
The third.
He'll go by senior later on, but he's the third.
What?
Yeah, because he'll have a kid and name him after himself, and then he's a junior, and now he's a senior, even though he was a third before.
You call
Very
that
confusing.
Kid Quad, right? I don't know.
Nope, he's junior now. We're starting over. Starting over. He's born December 27th, 1943. He is from Cicero, Illinois. So that's a colorful town, Cicero. It's, especially back then, it's known for its mob ties and everything like that. He is the third of 5 children, so right smack in the middle.
Right in the middle. Yeah.
Middle child, who probably the quiet one, and
likely
he's going to turn into this. His parents are Alberta and Henry Robinson, so he wasn't named after his dad. The third came from somewhere else. Dad was drunk, like all the time.
Yeah,
which
a drunk.
A drunk and drunk, both.
Drunk.
A drunk, which, I mean, back then, who the fuck knows if he was in World War II or he was from the Depression or if he worked in a field or something. I mean, anything could have happened here. Mom was not around a lot. She was absent from what I heard, but she was the one who doled out the discipline, but then she wasn't there a lot. So it's kind of feast or famine when it comes to that. Mom's home. She's in charge of everything. If mom's not home, you run wild. So it's either locked down completely or do whatever the fuck you want, which is a real weird thing for a kid to have, I would imagine here. Now, in 1955, when he's, 8 years old, or 13 years old, he joins the Boy Scouts.
Okay.
And he joined the Boy Scouts. He was sponsored by the Holy Name Society of Mary Queen of Heaven Roman Catholic Church. That's a lot of name. Quite the handle you got there. Doesn't really roll off the tongue. So the fall of 1957, he was accepted into the Quigley Preparatory Seminary. Mm-hmm. This is a 5-year course for young men who plan to become priests later. So he gets into this when he's 14, and he's supposed to be 19, come out of it, and go into the priesthood.
He picked that at 14 years old.
14. It's a weird thing. There's a lot of people like this that start there and end up murderers for some reason.
Yeah.
We cover this all the time. And it's a certain age. Like if they have this, like, I want to be a priest or a pastor or something at like 14 or 15, it seems to me that they turn out weird later. That's what they seem to turn out weird later. Then the religion isn't a part of them later either. That's the other thing. They're not even religious. They're just
going against it. Yeah.
Real weird. So November 1957, he was named an Eagle Scout.
Oh.
So, yeah, that's a big deal, the Eagle Scout. By my house, the fire department puts up the names of the new Eagle Scouts as they happen.
On the
sign, the marquee. Congrats to, it'll just be like, little Billy Johnson he's our newest Eagle Scout. Okay.
Way to go, you non-pussy getting bastard.
Way to go. You're going to learn how to tie knots, but not around anybody, because there won't be anybody else around.
Those are chick repellent knots.
Oh, God. So everybody said he was very pompous after the ceremony. He turned into a real douchebag. Like,
really?
Yeah, a little bit of something, a little bit of recognition. He was like, you're all beneath me. I'm an Eagle Scout. I'll never get laid. So late November 1957, as an Eagle Scout, he travels to London to sing for the Queen of England.
She wants to hear Eagle Scouts sing, huh?
It's a big Boy Scout thing. There's 120 Boy Scouts they send over. Judy Garland is there with him as well.
Well,
hanging out with Dorothy.
She's about to be dead.
Oh, shit, she lived for another 30 fucking years.
Did she?
The 50s? Yeah, she was around till the 80s, I think. Didn't she die in the 80s or something, I thought? Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know. She's Michael Jackson's favorite person's mom, right? Liza?
Liza's mom,
Liza Minnelli's mom, yeah.
Yeah, she was a mess, Judy Garland. She had a harrowing fucking childhood. When you hear what happened to her, you're like, she was basically just given to a studio. They're like, here you go, just drug her and make her diet and
drug her, do whatever you want to her. And don't tell anybody.
Don't send her back to the farm, please.
Yeah.
So he was the youngest American ever to appear at the home of London vaudeville. He led 120 Boy Scouts onto the stage of the Palladium Theater for a Royal Command performance. Then Judy Garland came up and gave him a kiss.
What?
Got a kiss from Dorothy.
What the hell?
Then Britain's Gracie Fields, who was a very famous lady, came and hugged him and talked to him, and then he bowed to Queen Elizabeth. Yep.
What a day.
Yep. He met Judy Garland in her dressing room before the show and said, "We Americans got to stick together." And she said, "You're right about that." And he said, "I wasn't scared, but I was surprised, all right, about how, much circumstance there is to the whole thing." He also told the actress Gracie Fields that he planned to study for the priesthood in Chicago. So he's over there hanging out with, this is quite the thing. No one, when I was a teenager, ever sent me to another country to sing for royalty. It just never happened. So apparently he can sing, too. He's a member, during high school, a member of the Cardinals Cathedral Choristers, which is a group that sang at Sunday Mass at Chicago's Holy Name Cathedral.
Beautiful. That's a big one.
Yeah, so he's one of the top child church singers in the country.
Yeah, this kid praises like nobody.
He's crushing it. Yeah, he can.
Yeah.
And it's Catholic shit, so he can sing Latin hymns like nobody.
Wow.
Like he really busted out. At the Quigley Preparatory Seminary, he's a shit student though. Uh-oh. So he wants to be a priest, and he looks all perfect from the outside, but
he can carry a tune in that smoky bucket, but nothing else.
He's like an apple that looks fine, and then you go to touch it, and the skin is there, but it's just liquid inside, and you touch it, it's just blah, turns to shit. That's what he is.
Slides off.
That's what he is, but the skin looks fine. That's John here, who'll go by JR a lot, by the way.
Real.
John Robinson. JR. Yeah, and then that could be Junior either, but not Junior, JR. Right. It was also a discipline problem at the preparatory seminary. As you know, priests are known to be brawlers first. That's what they do.
Real rule breakers.
You get in there, you go, "You love God? Yeah? You want to serve him? Yeah? How's your right hand? It's not bad. All right, come on in. You're good." Priest Fight Club is something I want to watch.
See you throw him. Yeah.
I'll watch that movie, Priest Fight Club. He got into squabbles and shoving matches with classmates and spent a lot of time in detention. He ends up leaving Quigley after his freshman year. So much for that, apparently. He finishes high school at a regular high school, and then in 1961, he enrolled at Morton Junior College in Cicero to train to become a medical x-ray tech. So that's a good job. It's a good, steady job, and people need x-rays.
Couldn't be more different
than the priesthood. yeah, totally different. He wanted to become a doctor now, he decided. He's like, I'm going to do this, then I'll be a doctor.
He wants to be God.
Yeah, I don't know. Should I talk to God or be God? Which one?
Yeah.
Which one should I be? So he ends up dropping out after 2 years, though, because, and this guy said he was going to be a doctor. You're going to go to medical school and then residency.
He couldn't remember Job, the book of Job. You're going to remember how to treat fucking emphysema.
He couldn't fucking finish x-ray tech school, which I'm sure is hard, but it's probably not as hard as becoming a full-fledged doctor. That's probably a lot of work, I would think. So he drops out of there, and we'll talk about what he does with that. But in 1964... he moves to Kansas City from Chicago area and marries a girl named Nancy Jo Lynch. Nancy will be his wife for a shocking amount of time. Like, when I finally say what happens in their marriage, you're going to go, she was still around? What the fuck? Holy shit. What took her so long? So 1965, he gets his first job as an x-ray tech. But the problem is he never finished training in tech school.
So how'd he get the job?
He didn't say he didn't finish. He said he finished. Yeah, he just lied. He was hired by Children's Mercy and General Hospital, which is
nice.
At least it's nobody important's going to get fucked up by this. It's just injured children. That's all. This is terrible, man.
People with their whole lives ahead of them.
Oh, no problem. He displayed fake diplomas and fake recommendation letters from Morton.
What the fuck?
From the school. He told them he needed a night job while he attended medical school during the day because he's going to become a doctor. So, wow. He was fired after they figured out that not only did he not have a diploma or anything, he had no fucking idea what he was doing. It's not like he knew how to do it and was like, I just don't want to go to school. He didn't know how to do it. He wasn't good at it. So
he just wanted a paycheck for being a quote-unquote doctor.
That's it. So around this time, Nancy gives birth to their first child. And, of course, he's John Jr. You got to – this ego is going to say, that kid's named after me. Yeah. During this time, he's totally unfaithful to Nancy this entire time, by the way. Every job he has, he's fucking every woman in it. Really? Yeah. I'm sure he was fucking half the hospital staff and everything else. He would go out to bars after work and hang out all night while Nancy took care of the kids, which was semi-normal, actually, back then for guys to do that. Yeah. But known to have many girlfriends, not just like one-night stands here or there. He's got like girlfriends on the side. Like he thinks he's a gangster or something, this guy.
Relationships.
Yeah, he's a failed X-ray tech, and he thinks he's a gangster. So in 1966, he's hired by Dr. Wallace Graham as an X-ray tech at the Fountain Plaza X-ray Lab. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show and tell you a little bit about our safest sponsors, Simply Safe. And everyone has routines that you go through, make you feel good, make you feel secure, like you have control over the world. And a lot of times you don't, but you do if you're us, and your routine includes arming your Simply Safe home security system. You know that's going to do well for you. So when we're heading out, both of us, we both have them in our houses, our studios, you lock up for the night. Yep. Yeah, this simple step does more than just protect you, gives you peace of mind. You're going to feel good about leaving, and then you're going to know it's going to be the same when you get back. You'll sleep more soundly. I can leave the house with confidence, and it's amazing how a push of a button can give you that kind of confidence. And with Simply Safe, we love it. Like I said, it's in our studios, in our homes. It's really easy to install, too. You can get professional installation also, but if we can put it up, you can put it up. Put it that way. Visit simplysafe.com/small to claim 50% off a new system with a professional monitoring plan and get your first month free. That's simplysafe.com/small, SIMPLI safe.com/small. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
And now back to the show.
Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit about Life 360. It's a new year, things are going on, you're juggling your family, you got school things to do, and I know you're always taking your kids to sports. You got a new driver in the house? You have a new driver in the house like Jimmy does here. Yeah. You're juggling all this stuff. You need to get Life 360. It's a location sharing app that works whether you're on iPhone, Android, doesn't matter. Life 360 makes coordinating your family's daily routines and activities so much smoother. You open up the app, you can see real-time locations for everyone in your family. That takes away all the stress of wondering, where are they? Are they going to be here in 10 minutes? When are they coming?
How fast are they going?
How, like you do with your son. You can monitor. That's great. Jimmy's been monitoring his son because he's a new driver. That's what's awesome. It really does. You can coordinate things, and because, obviously you could text somebody, but you don't want them texting and driving. So this way you can just look at it. It's really awesome. It's amazing how much more coordinated your family can be. Family-proof your family with Life 360. Visit life360.com or download the app today and use code SmallTownMurder to get 15% off. That's life360.com, code SmallTownMurder.
Now back to the show.
Okay, Robinson, again, still doesn't know how to do x-rays, but he's very good at stealing. He's really good at that.
Is he hot?
No, he's a charmer, boy. He's a salesman and a fucking charmer. That's what he's. That's what he is. That's what I mean. He's the opposite of Haddon Clark from a couple weeks ago, who was, like a, weird, recluse homeless man. This guy is the opposite of that. This is who BTK would dream to be. Yeah. Just dream about it. So what he does, he steals and embezzles from this man, drains the practice's bank account within 6 months. Just takes everything. Also engaged in several sexual encounters with not only the entire office staff, but several patients as well.
What?
Dude. Yeah. That'll guy
get us all in trouble. You can't do that.
Man, he is plowing every beehive hairdo in this joint. It's 66. This is crazy shit. He even bragged to the doctor's 15-year-old son that he was leading a double life and he had sex with all these women. He told the son that he liked to go to a club that what he called male transvestites went to. That's a cool club. He likes to go to that club. 1969, he's arrested. And that is for embezzling $33,000 from the practice.
What year?
1960. And he did that in 66. So that's a shitload of money back then. Yeah, that's a lot of fucking money.
They'll notice that.
That's like $300,000 now. Like, you're going to jail for that shit, or you're at least getting arrested. He was convicted of theft and was sentenced to, you, sir, may certainly fuck off, 3 years of probation. Because it's his first offense. He hasn't done anything. Yeah. So, he said, oh, man, I got carried away. So 1970, he gets a job with Mobil Oil Corp. So, Mobil. Yeah. He's arrested again for his work on this job after he stole 6,200 stamps. Stamps are non-traceable, something you can sell. Yeah. I mean, granted, they were like 8 cents a piece back then, but still, if you have enough of them,
a lot.
6,200 of them's a lot. So he made a deal with the court to pay restitution, and the charge was dropped to a misdemeanor. Okay. He's very good at getting out of shit, too, because he seems very upstanding. And people who don't spend a lot of time with him or look that deep into him just go, well, I mean, he's got a tie on. It's tied well, and, he seems fine.
Good guy.
Seems like a good guy. So then he starts selling insurance, which is perfect for this guy. Yeah. Perfect, gig for him. He finds work with R.B. Jones Company selling insurance, moves his family back to Chicago for this, which of course breaches the conditions of his 3-year probation.
Right, probation.
But
you can't leave.
He just doesn't tell his probation officer, so it's fine.
That solves it.
Yeah, you know how it goes. But the probation officer is going to find out about it soon because in 1971, first of all, he's crushing the insurance game.
Does great.
He's full of shit, this guy. He's a great salesman.
Right. Good point, yeah.
And he's a really good scammer and things like that. So he's great at selling insurance, much like Evel Knievel was great at selling insurance. He was great at it because he's full of shit. He's a salesman. But he, of course, couldn't stop himself from stealing. Here.
What did he take?
He embezzled $5,586.36 from the company.
That's a lot of money.
That's plenty, yeah. He, of course, was given a break by the court again when he agreed to pay. There's a pattern forming, I would say.
He's got to be hot.
He's not hot at all. He's later on referred to as a Pillsbury Doughboy.
Not hot.
Not hot. No. Looks have nothing to do with this. He looks upstanding. Wow. He knows how to be like, I was going to be a priest, and I'm, and he's full of shit. The case was dropped, and the Jackson County Court was reported to and ordered Robinson back to Kansas, where the judge really gave it to him good, extended his 3-year probation for some time.
Okay.
Take that. More probation that you won't pay attention to.
Right.
Around this time, Nancy gives birth to twins.
What?
Terrific. Yeah, these are not fraternal twins, Christopher and Christine. Really? Mm-hmm. Really?
Yeah.
No, not Chris and Chris, the twins. That's horrible.
It's a dick way to do things.
It feels like that's like you're just, oh, God, what a shitty thing to do to people. Chris and Chris. Ugh. Poor kids, man. Not just for their names, for the rest of what happens, but they move into a bigger house in Missouri at that time as well. He'll end up having 4 kids with his wife altogether here.
Really?
Yeah. He then starts a new business. God damn it. Let's get this going. Why not? If you're full of shit, be all the way full of shit. Be an entrepreneur. So he decides to start his own medical consulting business.
Oh, he's going to consult?
He
doesn't have a degree in anything.
He has half of X-ray school completed.
Yeah.
He's going to be a medical consultant. He calls the business Professional Services Association, Inc. Might as well be called Generic Company Name Corp. Professional Services Association, Inc. He gets a job here at the University of Kansas. He is hired by the U of Kansas Medical Center as a business consultant for its family practice department. He doesn't know shit about medical business.
But he's going to consult, so it's not a big deal.
2 groups of doctors at the University of Kansas Medical School hired him to manage their financial affairs. The doctor who talked to Robinson later, said, quote, he made a very good impression, well-dressed, nice-looking, seemed to know a lot, very glib, good speaker.
Seemed to know a lot.
Hair in place, clean tie, full of shit. Back then, you could rule the fucking world if you combed your hair, tie to tie, and could speak half decent, you could rule the fucking world in the 70s and 60s, and really up until the internet.
Anywhere.
Yeah. Now you can be an awkward, stammering 12-year-old and have fucking 700 million followers. So it's a different thing now.
And get booked where we can't.
They get booked. Well, they get booked where we want, but they'll fucking sell more tickets probably.
Get booked where we can't.
Where we can't, like, oh, you mean like a basketball arena?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not where we can't get booked, where we can't sell out. That's what, where we can't sell. That would be a tough one. So the doctors dismissed him after only a few months because of irregularities in his handling of their finances, because he doesn't know how to do that at all.
It's not his thing. He
doesn't have a thing.
He doesn't even have a degree doing that.
No. So he was sending letters to potential investors in his company, portraying a growing, healthy company, even though there's nothing. One letter suggested that Marion Laboratories, founded by Ewing M. Kauffman, the guy who owns the Royals baseball team, Kauffman Stadium's named after, was negotiating to purchase his company from him.
Oh.
Never happened, obviously, because it has nothing.
The guy wasn't negotiating anything.
Yep. The doctors said they ended up letting him go because they were suspicious of him after he requested the corporation's checkbook. They were like, let's not give him our checkbook. So December 10th, 1975, a federal grand jury in Missouri returns a 4-count indictment for securities fraud, mail fraud, and falsely misrepresenting his company PSA. One thing that's illegal to do is mislead investors. You're not allowed to fucking do that at all. Like,
yeah, that's bad.
That is fraud if you do that, because it's money, and that includes people, potential investors, or people who've already invested. You're not allowed to lie to them. That's an instant crime there. So May of 1976, he pleads no contest to interstate securities fraud, and he is given, let's see how harsh this sentence is. You, sir, may fuck off. Fine $2,500 and 3 more years probation.
He's never been punished for a single thing he's done wrong.
And he keeps doing the same thing over and fucking over again.
And getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, it's not even like, I could see if it was different shit that he was doing. You go, well, I don't know. He never did that before. But this is the same thing over and over. It's obviously what he does. He's a thief more than anything. So over the next few years, they're going to move into a new house that we'll talk about. He is going to become a scoutmaster. Well, he's an Eagle Scout, so why not? Coaches a T-ball team. Jesus, that's terrifying when you find out later what he's all about. Refereed school volleyball games between the girls, bought 2 horses, became a Sunday school teacher at the Presbyterian Church, even though he's Catholic. I guess it's the same story. And dressed up, he was the neighborhood Santa Claus as well.
Oh.
So, yeah, at this point, they have the dog, have a dog, kids, a couple of horses. They got all sorts of shit going on. So
and he's Santa Claus.
He's Santa Claus. He has all the trappings of an upstanding, a Sunday school teacher, youth sports referee, of an upstanding, orange slices in hand kind of a guy right here. Mm-hmm. He forms a new company after that, since his old one was, got him a federal indictment. It's called Hydro Grow, GRO.
Okay.
He gets a family he knows to invest $25,000 in it, which they're never going to fucking see again, obviously. This company's supposed to produce hydroponic vegetables. That's what they're trying to do here.
Okay. Tomatoes underwater.
Think about, and that is back in the 70s. Like, they do that now, but in the 70s, that was a...
They were doing hydroponic vegetables?
I mean, they were, I guess, back then. He's trying. At least it's an idea. Anyway, a theory. He produced a 64-page booklet.
Oh.
Fun with Home Hobby Hydroponics, it's called.
Okay.
In the book, it says, we hope that as you read this book, you will form an acquaintance with John Robinson as a sensitive and stimulating human being. Through a pamphlet. That's going to be hard. They said he's one of the nation's pioneers in indoor home hydroponics and a sought-after lecturer, consultant, and author. None of those things are true. He doesn't produce carrot one from this fucking venture. Nothing. This is just full of shit to get money from people. He needs a company.
He's traveling.
Yeah. He needs a company to be able to get people to invest in a company. He can't just say, give me money. He has to say, I got an idea.
I need seed money.
No. Yeah, well, he would need, that's perfect for that, I guess, seed money.
Yeah.
So in 1977, that's when they buy this new house. It's a 9-room house on 4 acres. It's a big house, a nice neighborhood called Pleasant Valley Farms. Yeah, it's very nice. It stretches west into Kansas from the Missouri border. It was one of the richest counties in the United States. This was somehow at the time. They called it. The magazine called it 480 square miles of sleek suburban affluence. Look at that. This is Lenexa and Olathe is there and all that shit. So the people of Johnson County felt like they were better than the people on the trash Missouri side. These fucking Missourians over there.
Pigs.
Yeah, they said that when you crossed over to Kansas, the light seemed brighter, the landscape less dingy. The Kansans were richer, smarter, nicer, and gentler. That's what everybody thought. So they said it has vistas across rolling hills, this neighborhood, which they found the only hills in Kansas. We've been through. It's not much there. You can see pretty much the whole state from wherever you are in the state. So they say stands of elm and maple trees, bridle path, and lake stocked with fish. Oh, boy, that sounds nice. It's only an hour away from Kansas City, too. Mm-hmm. Their new home is 4 levels. They have 2 big stone fireplaces. They have a horse stable and corral.
Oh, yeah.
Not bad, man. New neighbors thought he was intelligent and, conversed knowledgeably about international finance and business matters at local picnics. He'd be telling people about shit.
World affairs, yeah.
World affairs, a very worldly intelligent guy, they look at him. So he also helps run the neighborhood, the HOA. You feeling kinship to him now, Jimmy?
Love that.
I love when I'm on the phone with you or I'm at your fucking house and you get phone calls from HOA people about HOA problems. I'm like, what are you doing?
My man stepped down, James.
Why are you listening to these people? Tell them to fuck yourselves. Put up a fucking fence around your house and don't worry about their bullshit. The guy that you were talking to last time?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
He stepped down. It's done. He's out.
My God. I don't blame him. That sounded like a crazy problem he was having over the speakerphone. So, he worked in his yard a lot. He installed a rail fence and a pond. His children, John, at this point, was about 14 years old. Kimberly, 12, is the second kid. And then the twins, who were 8, are all very well-behaved, good-looking, clean, polished kids here. Yeah.
All American, yeah.
John Jr. would help his father with work around the property. Chris and Chrissy took care of the dog. Jesus, Chris and Chrissy? Come on, man. Took care of the dogs and cats. And of their neighbors when their neighbors would go out of town, they get hired to go feed the dog. So it's very nice here. Also, somehow he bullshits his way onto the board of directors of a local handicapped services organization.
Just do it, man.
No, if you're full of shit enough back then, and no one could Google you, they just had to believe you back then. That's all it was.
Yeah, Google saved a lot, hasn't it?
I mean, yeah, but it's so funny. We have the most information ever, but yet people are the dumbest they've ever been. They know the least amount of history. They know the least amount of everything, even though they have all that information there.
Yeah, Casey Anthony's out there claiming to be in law since
a legal advocate. Yeah,
but you were arrested.
I mean, at the same time, she got off on that obvious fucking bullshit. Yeah, that's crazy. So maybe she's the greatest legal advocate in the world. You never know. No, fuck her.
She was the first one that she exonerated.
Wow. Yeah, I did. Well, if I got off, I can get anybody off because, wow, was I guilty. Allegedly. So his first act on the board was to order stationery for the group, with he forged letters from the executive director to the mayor and from the mayor to other civic leaders, inviting them to an awards luncheon honoring an anonymous recipient of the Man of the Year award that didn't even exist.
Right.
Okay. The winner turns out to be, surprise, surprise, Robinson, JR here.
Ha!
Yeah.
He won his own award?
Absolutely. This is from the Kansas City Times newspaper on December 8th, 1977. Group for Disabled Honors Area Man. The article reported that John Robinson, president of Hydro Grow, Inc., has been named Man of the Year for his work with the handicapped. He just started. All he did was order stationery. He headed the board of a, quote, sheltered workshop which employed disabled people. the newspaper said. The award, a proclamation signed by the mayor of Kansas City, the whole deal. So 2 weeks later, after this grand triumph, the newspaper reported that it was revealed that Robinson had orchestrated the award himself through a complex sequence of fake letters of recommendation that he had sent to City Hall. Wow. The Kansas City Star that afternoon here revealed the ruse in a story headlined, "Man of the Year ploy backfires on quote-unquote honoree." That is fucking hilarious. So
he's found out and everybody knows now.
Yeah, that he made himself the non-existent Man of the Year and orchestrated this whole horseshit. And as the neighbors got to know him, they noticed that he's kind of a twat. They don't really like this guy. He's kind of a dick. Yeah, I know one of the neighbors here, Margaret Adams, who's a gardener all the time, like big into her garden, recalls that she once asked him to demonstrate his hydroponic system. She said, show me what you got. I'm into it. He said, sure, and he was pleasant until she told him that she felt his price for the system was a little too high. Seems like you're charging a little too much. He told her, quote, "You've wasted my time, you small potatoes," and then walked away.
You're ugly. Leave me alone.
I don't need you. Your ass is too fat. Go away. I don't like you. It's fat and lumpy. Leave me alone. He got into almost a fist fight that had to be broken up by other neighbors over a dog that was barking.
What?
He also didn't want to be a part of the neighborhood association anymore, accusing it in a formal letter of being, quote, invalid, because in his opinion, it failed to enforce some of its rules. Yeah. Invalid? Yeah, invalid. It's a bullshit. If you're not going to enforce all the rules, it invalidates the whole organization.
Doesn't exist.
So he also, another neighbor said he was cocky and arrogant and you needed to walk on eggs around him.
Eggshells.
You felt like you were not, you needed to walk on eggs. You felt like you were walking on eggshells is how that goes.
Yeah.
You needed
to walk on some eggs.
Needed to walk on eggs I've never heard it put that way. So meanwhile, he is terrible. He takes shit care of his animals. His horses are half starved to death all the time. His dog's in bad shape, and he's beating the shit out of Nancy. Everybody's
walking around on eggs.
Yeah, well, he's fucking throwing them at people. So he's beating the crap out of his wife. Neighbors occasionally heard him yelling at his wife and children and ordering them around like he was in the military. The children would follow his orders, and the children, though, later on, they'll become all good kids, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, so that's helpful. Nancy must have been a decent mother here. Nancy ends up beginning divorce proceedings at this point. Don't worry, it's not over. They have some counseling, and then she's back in.
Okay, yeah.
March 1979. He is discharged from federal probation with an excellent report from his probation officer, obviously. He became the employee relations manager at Guy's Food, which is it's a subsidiary of Borden, right? From what I understand, what I found out here, it's a grocery store or a food distributor type of deal. He had an affair with a secretary.
Hell yeah!
And then she helped him embezzle thousands of dollars by inventing fake employees and cashing their checks.
What?
This secretary was in charge of adding new people to payroll and stuff like that. So he fucked her and had her add new non-existent people to payroll so he could steal.
You can't do that.
Yeah, he must fuck amazing, by the way.
Yeah, to get somebody to do that?
Incredible. Man, he's slinging some fucking sword here. So the losses total more than $40,000.
Okay.
Part of which he spent on an apartment where he conducted sexual liaisons with two women who worked for Borden, the company too.
I'm going to steal money to use it for a fuck dungeon.
To fuck more women in the company to hopefully be able to steal more money.
What the fuck, man?
This guy, one of the women here that in her interrogation said, John kind of swept me off my feet. He treated me like a queen. He always had money to take me to nice restaurants and hotels. So I figured I would get involved with a criminal enterprise with him. That's what I mean. Slinging dick.
Has to be.
December 30th, 1980, he's fired from Guy's Food and charged with felony theft, submitting false vouchers and forged checks. he has to pay back over $41,000 in restitution.
Oh.
Jesus Christ, dude. He's just one scam after another. Fall of 1981, he pleads guilty to a Class C felony of stealing a $6,000 check and spent 60 days in jail starting in May of 82. This is the first fucking time anybody's put this guy in jail at all.
60 days, though.
Yeah, and it's been 15 years of constant scamming. 60 days. Jesus. So summer of 1982, he's got a new company. He's back, baby. It's called Equa Plus. It's a consulting company. In other words, bullshit. Just bullshit. Yeah. He also begins sexually propositioning many of the women in the neighborhood, which gets him into several physical fights with some of their husbands in the neighborhood. Yeah.
Because they're not going to like that. Yeah.
Someone tries to fuck your wife and they live 3 houses away. You're going to go knock on the goddamn door. Hey, my wife said you grabbed her ass. What are we doing here?
Heard you tried to fuck my wife.
You heard that's a problem.
Bastard.
Yeah. How'd you like to step out in the front yard and talk about this? So, wow. Fall of 1982, Irv Blattner enters the picture. Yeah. He becomes a partner in not only crime, but Equa fucking, what is it? Equa, whatever the hell it is. Equifax, Equa bullshit. It doesn't matter. Equa Plus is what it's called.
Equa Plus.
They start a sister company called Equa 2, the number 2.
The second one?
Yeah, it's a sequel. The really fucking fond after sequel. Everyone wanted it. So May 1984, Irv Blattner leads Robinson here to a woman who wants a divorce. Not from anyone they know, just she wants a divorce. Robinson poses as an attorney. He hears this lady wants a divorce, so his thing is, I'll pretend to be the attorney and get her to pay me money. So he promised to get her a divorce if she paid him $200 and gave him her car. Because she didn't have a lot of money. She said, okay, gave him $200 and her car, and obviously he did nothing for her because he's not a fucking lawyer.
Right.
He didn't even go get the papers from the courthouse and at least, try to get the ball right. He did nothing. He just took her car and her money. So 1984, Paula Godfrey enters the picture here. She's 19 years old, and John hires her to work as a sales rep for his quote-unquote company, Equa Plus or Equa 2. He picked her up from her parents' home in September to go to the airport, and she was never seen again.
Oh.
The last that her parents saw, she was getting in the car with him, and then poof, thin air. Okay. Now, summer 1984. Think about it. Summer of 84, everybody. It's like season 1 of Stranger Things. You got the Olympics are going on. You got Gary Coleman and Punky Brewster have a hold on a whole nation's hearts. And this happens at the same time. All right. Robinson rents a duplex in the name of the company, Equa 2, and turns it into a brothel.
Okay.
Yeah, we got to talk about all of this now. Let's get into what his sexual proclivities are, because they are fucking wild. I didn't want this to be about his sexual proclivities completely, because he's also a scam artist and a criminal like that. Yeah. But he hires Linda Stevens Jones to run the brothel and find other girls to join. Okay? The brothel specializes in rough S&M sex. That's what this is about. You come there to get the shit kicked out of you.
Really?
Yes, that's what he's into. Big time into BDSM stuff, and I'm talking hardcore though. He's really into it. He also became a leading member of a secret S&M cult called the International Council of Masters.
Okay.
Now we've met dudes like this, and they're fucking weird. They're fucking weird.
I mean, yeah, if you need to dominate people all the time, you're a weird guy. Yeah.
And we've met some of the young ladies who were. Yeah. We had a listener that was she'd come to our shows and like she'd be on a leash and shit, and we were just very uncomfortable with the whole thing.
It's very weird
because it seemed she was very young and he was older, and it seemed it just seemed abusive to me. It seemed, but it's voluntary, and she was an adult, so it's like my circuits were all crossed as far as. Help this girl and none of my fucking business because, hey, this is America. You can fuck who you want the way you want. You're an adult. I don't know. So
you can wander around looking how you want to look.
You know what I'm saying? But you just want to go, come, please, I'll help you. We'll help you.
Yeah.
We'll get you in like an Uber and you can just drive away.
We'll find your father.
Yeah, where's your, oh God, please. So anyway, he was the cult's Slavemaster, and that'll be, by the way, his screen name for everything later. It'll be Slavemaster. Oh yeah, that's his nickname, the Slavemaster. And wow, he was them, and it was his job to bring people to bring a victim to meetings to be beaten and tortured and who knows what else. So January 9th, 1985, Lisa Stasi enters the picture, Stasi, or Stacy. She used to be Lisa Eldridge, but she got married here. She began dating Carl Stasi in June of 83, married Carl in August of 84 while she was pregnant. She gave birth to a child named Tiffany in September of 1984 at Truman Medical Center in Kansas City. After Tiffany's birth, the marriage fell apart.
Oh, boy.
Carl, her husband and the kid's dad, re-enlisted in the Navy. That's a real, I'm getting the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He reported for duty at Great Lakes Naval Base outside Chicago in early January 1985. So it's around this time that she begins dating, around the time she began dating, but she's not dating Robinson now. We'll get into that. But at the time where she started dating her husband, who's now in the Navy, Robinson was doing something too. He was trying to figure out an opportunity for adoption for his younger brother, Donald, and Donald's wife, Helen, who lived in Chicago. I guess they had medical problems. They couldn't conceive. So at a family reunion in 1983, Donald and Helen, his brother and his wife, told John that they were pursuing private adoption. John, I'm sure seeing some form of scam here, said he knew an adoption attorney and he would handle the process for his brother. I'll take care of everything for you. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So in the fall of 84, Robinson told Donald and Helen that a baby would be available in October. Baby coming up. We got an opening for a baby popping up here. So Robinson here, John told his brother to send him a $2,500 cashier's check payable to Robinson's business. Equit 2. Allegedly,
$2,500?
$2,500 to cover adoption-related fees, he said. He needed because he has to shell it out. Then later on, John just tells his brother that the birth mother decided not to put the kid up for adoption after all. So, never mind. That's all gone. So November of 84, Robinson contacted Karen Gaddis, who is a social worker at Truman Medical Center, and told her that he and several Johnson County businessmen had developed a program to provide housing, transportation, daycare, and job training for young mothers and their babies. Babies need job training, number one, first and foremost.
You got to show them how to be a baby.
Yeah, they don't even know how to do an x-ray. You know what I mean? It doesn't work.
Teach you how to baby. Yeah.
Teach you how to shit your pants. Hey everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about some delicious stuff here, Hero Bread. Oh, get in there and get this stuff because it is delicious, and the Hero Bread is great because it's a healthier alternative to all a healthier bagel and a healthier Hawaiian roll, which, God, those are so good, they're Hawaiian rolls. Oh, those are good too, the tortillas, the Hawaiian rolls, there's so much. So you don't have to give up goodness and taste just to live a little bit healthier. You can get with Hero and do that. Be a hero. The taste and the texture is everything. I'm a bread guy. I'm an Italian. I love bread. And the taste and the texture is really good in this bread. And that is what makes the difference. They have so many things. That's the other thing. The bagels, the tortillas, like you were saying, the rolls, the bread, the Hawaiian rolls. There's a full.
Yeah.
Get on.
They got it.
Hero Brand is offering 10% off your order. Go to hero.co and use the code SmallTownMurder at checkout. That's SmallTownMurder at hero.co.
Now back to the show.
Thank you to our partner, Mentos Gum. You ever feel like you're just going through the same motions day after day? We've all been there. Staring at brake lights, in traffic, or stuck in a long meeting. Not anymore with Mentos Gum. Listen up. This isn't just your regular gum. We're talking about a whole vibe refresh. Think of it as your personal reset button. One piece, and suddenly that traffic jam becomes your private concert venue. That meeting that should have been an email, it turns into a full-on fiesta. From flavors like fresh mint to bold strawberry, Mentos gum transforms ordinary moments into fresh possibilities. Whether you want to switch up your route home or keep your mind fresh in a meeting, refresh the everyday with Mentos gum. Yes to fresh with Mentos gum.
What if everything we thought we knew about justice was wrong? In This Is Actually Happening's new series, A World Beyond Revenge, we explore a radical idea that justice can be about healing, not just punishment. Through 5 powerful stories, we meet people who've experienced unimaginable harm and those who caused it as they come together to seek something radical. Healing. From a man tortured for a crime he didn't commit to a woman who misidentified her attacker. These stories will change the way you think about justice, forgiveness, and the possibility of a better world. Follow This Is Actually Happening on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to This Is Actually Happening ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
So Robinson said he needed referrals of Caucasian women, the way he put it, because the program already had African-American participants and it needed racial balance, is what he said.
Too many.
Too many black people.
Yeah.
Where's some white ladies? So he said he was looking for a white woman in her teens or early 20s who had a newborn child and was struggling or disadvantaged and had no family support or ties. Somebody that could disappear and nobody would miss. You know what I mean? Somebody like that.
Just take your baby.
Wow. So that is fucking wild. January 1985, he tells Gaddis another organization, Hope House, had referred a young lady to his program and he had placed her at a motel in Kansas. Okay. That is Lisa Stasi and her then 4-month-old baby Tiffany. He told her his name was John Osborne, different name, and that's one of his aliases, and promised her a job in Chicago. And after picking Lisa and Tiffany up at the home of Lisa's sister, actually put her up in a local hotel.
Oh.
Yeah. So family members saw Lisa and Tiffany in early January 1985. Carl's sister, Kathy, babysat Tiffany all the time. So on January 8th, Stasi dropped Tiffany off at her sister-in-law's house here and told her that she had met a man named John Osborne who was going to help her get a job and finish her GED. Okay. She said she might even get to travel as part of the job training program. So,
what a deal.
Yeah. So then January 9th, she returned to her sister-in-law's house to pick up Tiffany. And when Lisa arrived, she told her sister-in-law that John Osborne had paid for her to stay in a room at the Roadway Inn in Overland Park. Class. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Roadway Inn. Come on.
Nice joint. Yeah.
At about 2 p.m. that day, Stasi called the front desk at the Roadway Inn and gave the hotel receptionist her sister-in-law's phone number in case this guy calls. Said, hey, if John Osborne calls, tell him I'm at this number. All right. Osborne, quote unquote, then called the sister-in-law's number soon after and got directions to her home. I guess it was a big snowstorm going on, but he showed up anyway at about 3 p.m. and Lisa and Tiffany went with him, leaving her car parked outside her sister-in-law's home. Less than an hour later, Lisa called her sister-in-law to tell her that she had arrived safely at the motel and, I'll pick up my car tomorrow or something. Everything's fine. Never heard from either one of them again, Tiffany or Lisa, and she never returned for her car or anything. And later on, the sister-in-law would identify the man she knew as John Osborne to be, obviously, John Robinson. So the next day after that, because she calls her mother-in-law, Lisa does. So that she drove away. That's the last time they saw her, but they heard from her the next day. 4:30 p.m., she called her mother-in-law, Betty Stasi, in a panic, crying and hysterical. Lisa was saying to her mother-in-law that, quote, they are claiming that you, Betty, plan to take Tiffany away from me because I'm an unfit mother. And she's crying and hysterical.
Yeah.
Betty told her, I don't know what they are saying. First of all, it's not true. And who the fuck are they?
Who is it?
Who are you talking about? Yeah. So then Lisa said they wanted her to sign 4 blank sheets of paper.
don't do that.
I would say not. Betty Stassi told her, do not sign anything. And right after she said that, Lisa said, oh, here they come, and then hung up. And that's the last anyone ever heard of her. Disappeared off the face of the earth.
No clue of who they are.
No clue. Here they come. The phone disconnected. A few days later, Betty, the mother-in-law, receives a letter supposedly written by Lisa, and it was typewritten and signed Lisa at the bottom, and said that Lisa had left town to start a new life with Tiffany. Don't look for me. Goodbye.
Well, due to her wishes.
By the way, it's a typewritten letter, and Betty said that Lisa, quote, didn't know how to type.
Well, she figured it out today.
I mean, it's not, maybe not fast, but if you press a J will pop up. It's not that hard to figure out. It's pretty.
You don't press the J and it turns into a Q.
You'd have to know how to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, out of complete coincidence, John then calls his brother, the one looking for a baby, at around this same time, and says to come to Kansas. This is the same day that Lisa's saying stuff. He says, hey, come to Kansas City because I found you a baby girl.
Oh.
Got you covered, bro.
Done.
Yep. This is crazy, man. So I guess Nancy, who is his wife here, John's wife, said in early January 95, this day, the day of the terrible snowstorm, John brought a baby to their home. John said the baby's name was Tiffany, and he received her through a private adoption for his brother. So they were just like, here, pass this baby on to your brother.
Please middleman this for us.
Yeah, it's a private adoption. We don't even want to meet the people. Yeah.
Run point on getting this child anywhere.
Matter of fact, just take the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Take it.
Just go give it to somebody else.
We don't care.
Fit. Yeah.
Yeah. So Robinson called Donald and Helen and told them a baby's available right now. He said the birth mother had decided against adoption after delivery, but the family didn't support her decision, so she left the baby at a shelter and killed herself.
Oh my God.
So this was the original baby they were supposed to get, but didn't work out. But now, dead mother, here's your baby.
There it is.
So Donald and Helen flew to Kansas City on January 10th. Robinson picked them up at the airport in the late afternoon and drove them to the offices of Equa 2, and they signed legal paperwork, including a petition for adoption. After signing the documents, Donald gave John a $3,000 cashier's check payable to Doug Wood, the lawyer he told him about, allegedly for further adoption expenses. Donald and Helen named the baby Heather Tiffany Robinson. So now she's kept her with that, but gave her Heather. So they returned next day. They went back to Chicago with their new baby girl.
Might as well. Yeah.
Might as well. That same morning, the sister-in-law, the Lisa Stassi sister-in-law, called the Roadway Inn and learned that Lisa's room had been reserved under a name other than John Osborne.
Okay.
So on January 11th, the sister-in-law files a missing persons report with the Overland Police Department. Robinson's name obviously comes up in the investigation, and on February 1st, 1985, detectives interview him, and he told them he was starting a charitable organization to provide young mothers job, training, food, and housing. He admitted that, yes, he did place Lisa at the Roadway Inn as part of that program. He said, however, Lisa had recently come to his office to give him the motel key. He said she thanked me for the assistance and said she had made other arrangements. That's all she said. Okay. Robinson said that Lisa and Tiffany left with a young white man in an older model green car. That's all he knows. 1 week later, he tells a similar story to his Missouri parole and probation officer, Steve Hames. He'll come up now and then, by the way, Hames. Robinson told Hames he placed Stasi at the Roadway Inn, but Lisa came to his business on January 10th with a man named Bill and said they planned to start a new life together in Colorado. To corroborate his story, he paid someone he knows named Cora Holmes $800 in exchange for her false statement to police, too. Mm-hmm. At Robinson's direction, Holmes told the police that she had recently babysat Tiffany and learned Lisa had left for Arkansas with a man named Bill Summers. In July 1985, Donald and Helen, his brother and wife, and his brother's wife, received a package from Robinson containing final adoption paperwork, including a petition for adoption, decree of adoption, birth certificate, and other documents. The petition appeared to be signed by attorney Douglas Wood, who had handled over 100 adoptions in his career. Problem is, when asked about it, Wood will later testify that he did not prepare that document. It deviated from his standard form, and his signature is forged, obviously.
Wasn't me, yeah.
No. He said he never represented Robinson or any member of his family in any adoption proceeding, nor received payment from Robinson for any legal work. The decree appeared to contain this signature, though, it was fine. He had represented Robinson in other matters, and Robinson had access to other examples of Wood's signature. The decree also appeared to be signed by Judge Michael H. Farley, but Judge Farley said the decree was fraudulent and his signature was forged.
Oh, it wasn't his either.
Wow. Also, the petition and decree appeared to be notarized by E.V. Gresham, who had been in a BDSM relationship with Robinson for years now. She never saw the documents. Her name was misspelled, and she was never a notary public. He just picked someone's name out of his ass and said, they're the notary. Done.
She's never been a notary.
Yeah, never. Nope. He also had directed her to sign numerous blank papers during their relationship as well. Okay.
Let's see your autograph.
Now, his probation officer, Stephen Hames, he took a call in Missouri. He had never heard someone called him, and he was being supervised by a Kansas probation officer as well. He pulled Robinson's file and perused his criminal record. He checked with the Kansas probation officer, who had no problems with him, with Robinson. So Hames sent a letter to Robinson ordering him to report to the Missouri probation office on January 17th, 85. He didn't show up. So he sent him another letter registered this time, ordering his appearance on the 24th. He also contacted Hames by telephone here, a Kansas City field office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, a supervisor who he had worked with in the past, to ask them, are you investigating Robinson, or were you aware of any baby-selling rings operating in the Kansas City area? Oh. They said no and no. But they said the supervisor of the office said that the Bureau was, quote, aware of John Robinson, but they weren't investigating actively. Okay. So Robinson comes to Hames's office, and promptly at 1 p.m., 5'9", 200 pounds, Hames said he reminded him of the Pillsbury Doughboy dressed nicely. He said he was friendly and deferential and had an answer for about everything, and had met with, he said, yes, he met with Birthright, which is an organization that places people, as part of an effort by several of his business associates to, quote, help the community. No, he had not told Birthright that the Presbyterian Church was behind the effort. He said the Birthright people just misunderstood me. They had asked him what church he attended, and he told them. That's all. He didn't say they were backing me. Robinson volunteers. He also met with social workers from the Truman Medical Center, and they had placed 2 young women in an apartment that he had rented on Troost Avenue. Hames was welcome to visit the apartment and speak with the residents. And he said, I'm not doing anything shady. Yeah. So Hames called an Overland Park detective who said they had found no evidence of wrongdoing in the Stasi case, and they weren't pursuing it.
We're done with this.
We're done with it. Yeah, there's people came in and she said she left, and I don't know. So the detective did mention, however, that a second young woman who had worked for Robinson, Paula Godfrey, remember her, had been reported missing a few months earlier. The detective recounted the letter the police had received purportedly from Godfrey saying she was okay and didn't want to see her family.
Hey, everybody leave me alone.
Yeah, which is what the Amazon review killer did. Yeah. The police...
So every letter about when somebody goes missing or...
I don't want to be found. Like,
yeah.
They're probably murdered, right?
Leave me alone. They're dead.
Any leave me alone letter, they're probably murdered, unless you had beef with them to begin with, right? So the police said, we're not pursuing that case either. We have no evidence of anything. So Steve Hames, though, was like, I don't know, this guy's shady, the probation officer is thinking here. He said he learned from Lisa Stasi's relatives that he learned that Robinson had her sign 4 blank sheets of stationery. 2 letters arriving shortly after she disappeared looked suspicious. They didn't sound like Lisa, and they were typed. We know that she can't type. So the probation officer asked John Robinson where Lisa Stasi was. Robinson claimed she had run off to Colorado with a guy named Bill again. So Hames is like, I don't know about this. He said, this guy's a con man. it's very possible that he turned into a murderer of vulnerable young women here. So he called the FBI supervisor again, and he said, you might have to take a look at this. He said, we've got 2 women and a baby missing. We've got Robinson crossing state lines. So the supervisor said, all right, let's assign 2 agents to it and take a look. Okay. So over the next few weeks, a couple of agents who here began looking at him and looking at everything here. They discovered Robinson was involved in a shitload of ongoing criminal activities in the Kansas City underworld here.
Really?
They said Robinson and fellow ex-convict Irv Blattner, remember him, were under investigation by the U.S. Secret Service for forging the signature on and cashing a government check. Jesus. Hames and the FBI learned as well that the investigation in Johnson County, Kansas, where the district attorney was building a case that Robinson company Equa 2 had defrauded Back Care Systems, another company. Mm-hmm. So the thing is, he looks so upstanding. They said he's a doting.
Meanwhile, he's running schemes constantly.
Constantly, but he's just like this middle-aged, got a tie on, his hair's combed neatly. It's also what it's all about. And they said he seemed to be a good father and husband. He built a soccer goal for his family in the yard so his son could practice at home. Yeah, they're like, he's a good guy. He goes to his daughter's flute recitals and band concerts. He referees school volleyball games. They're like, he's a successful businessman. He's always talking about new ventures. He's a great guy. He's also, not that this doesn't make you a great guy, but he's also hardcore into this BDSM underworld.
Rip-roaring spank.
Yeah. It's not just he's like him and his wife got some toys. This is like he's finding strange young women and taking them in, and there's a whole different thing going on here. He saw BDSM as a way to make money.
Oh?
Which most people think just coming hard is enough. But he's like, no, I need to make money off this too. Isn't coming enough for people?
I got a feeling the coming part isn't even a thing for him.
I don't know about that. I think
he likes it. You think?
Yeah, I think he likes inflicting pain. That's what turns him on.
Okay,
that's his thing. From what we'll find out later on. Apparently, he was organizing a ring of prostitutes for customers interested in S&M and using a male stripper known as M&M to find women for him. Not
M&M from S&M.
Yep, M&M. He's just M&M. He's just masochism and masochism. That's him. Everybody calls him JR. None of the investigative trails led to Lisa Stasi or Paula Godfrey, though. But they were like, he's definitely doing some shady shit, though. Mm-hmm. So Hames orders him to come in for another visit. And he says, quote, why is everyone making such a big deal when I'm only trying to help people? So Robinson says. He says, by the way, Lisa Stasi has been found. She's okay. Tiffany, the baby, everybody's fine. So
where?
Quit breaking fucking balls there. He claimed he had heard from a local woman for whom Stasi recently had babysat, and she said that she and Tiffany were definitely in the Kansas City area, but an FBI agent and an Overland Park detective spoke to the woman in question, who he said told him the story, and she admitted the story of Stasi babysitting for her was false. And yeah, so Robinson had asked her to tell the lie if police asked her.
Oh, so it's his story that he gave her.
Yeah. He said, if they ask you, tell you this. They said, why are you doing this for him? And she said, because she owed him money, and he had photographed her nude as a prospective prostitute.
Uh-oh.
So the FBI decides to send out a female agent to contact him and pose as a prostitute looking for work. Mm-hmm. So she was wired up, and the agent met Robinson for lunch at a restaurant. He told her his clients were mainly lawyers, doctors, and judges, and that she could earn $2,000 to $3,000 a week or a weekend traveling to Denver or Dallas to service them, or $1,000 a night in the Kansas City area.
If you stick around here, $1,000. Go
Absolutely.
to Denver, $2,000.
You got to go there. He did tell her, though, as this job entails, you're going to have to undergo a lot of pain. This isn't just a regular prostitution gig. These people don't want to have sex with you. They're going to want to fuck with you, such as having, your nipples crunched with pliers. You got to like that, he's telling her. So the FBI hears a recording of the conversation and decided against proceeding with the undercover effort for the time out of fear for this woman's safety. the agent. They were like, we don't trust this fucking guy. He's going to kill this fucking lady.
He's going to crush your fucking nipples, lady.
Fuck. So she's going to come back with mashed nipples to the FBI. March 19th, 1985, Irv Blattner, the partner, cooperates with the Secret Service.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he's in deep shit, and he's an ex-con, and he didn't want to go back to prison. So he cooperates with the Secret Service to sign a statement implicating John Robinson's position in a number of illegal activities to get him arrested for probation violations. Okay. This is an exchange for lenient treatment in the government check forgery investigation. The FBI advised Truman Medical Center to remove its 2 young women from Robinson's Troost Avenue apartment, but to give Robinson a plausible excuse. So these women are in danger. Get them the fuck out. They don't exist, these women, but he told them that. So they're like, if that's true, do that. So March 21st, 1985, he comes in for his probation officer meeting and arrested in his probation officer's office there.
Okay.
But he's out on bail pretty quick.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. It's just check shit, and they don't have anything on. He's under suspicion of women disappearing, but they don't have anything on that. So April 1985, Teresa Williams, 21 years old. Yeah. He meets her and lets her move into the brothel and becomes his personal prostitute.
Oh, this is his gal.
This is his gal here. She's attractive, 21 years old. She's from Boise, Idaho. She's been working odd jobs around Kansas City and looking for a main job here. Mm-hmm. Robinson took her to a hotel room where he photographed her nude and offered her a position as his, quote, mistress. This is a job that would involve sexual services, not only for him, but for others as well. Mm-hmm. He would put her up in an apartment and pay all her expenses, plus prostitution fees, and he would supply her with weed and amphetamines.
Oh, what a deal.
And she said, wow, no other fucking job offer is going to be like that. So, sure. So on the night
I was going to take that receptionist job over the car dealership, but they said no weed.
They said no, they wouldn't give me amphetamines is the problem.
They dug their heels in.
They said no meth. You can show up stoned, but we're not giving you meth. And we were like, oh, okay. So the night of April 30th, 1985, JR here gives Williams $1,200 in cash, got her a fancy dress, all, tits out and everything. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Told her to wait in a park across the street from the Troost Avenue apartment. A limousine picked her up. Mm-hmm. The driver blindfolded her and took her to a mansion somewhere in the Kansas City area. This fucking happened. This is like some weird Eyes Wide Shut shit going on now.
Great day.
She was given to a distinguished-looking 60-ish gray-haired man who was called, quote, the judge.
The judge.
You know he was a judge, too, probably.
Yeah. He's a judge. Yeah.
He escorted her to the basement, which was a sex dungeon. That's what it was down there. It was, all sorts of shit. She put it as, quote, brutality and other unnatural sex acts.
Good Lord.
He had her disrobe and then started stretching her on a medieval torture rack.
This is the judge?
This is the judge, yeah.
Oh, boy.
She screamed and told him to let her leave, and she was blindfolded again and returned to the apartment. So the guy said, okay. A few days later, she was forced to return the $1,200. John said, give me that fucking money back.
She didn't earn it, yeah.
Yes. Then, at the same time, he found out that not only is she not doing her gigs, quote, whatever, she's also entertaining a boyfriend over at the apartment.
She's got a man?
That Robinson isn't even getting any money for. So he's pissed off. Very pissed off. So he comes over one day, and early on a Saturday morning in late May of 85, let himself in, had his own keys, went into the apartment, a 2-bedroom unit on the 3rd floor. Teresa Williams is there. She was asleep, but he barged into the bedroom. Yeah. And this is fucking wild. Grabbed her by the hair, pulled her over a knee, and started spanking her. Mm-hmm. He said, "You've been a real bad girl. You need to learn a lesson." Okay. She was like, "What the fuck?" She started screaming, so he threw her on the floor and pulled a revolver out of a shoulder holster and pointed it at her. Oh, boy. He said, "If you don't shut up, I'll blow your brains out." He put the gun to her head and pulled the trigger, and it was empty. He's fucking with her. No bullets. Yeah. So she's now cowering and crying, obviously, and that's ridiculous. He then, this is crazy shit here, He then slid the gun down her torso and put it inside of her.
Oh, my God.
And said, quote, "I bet you've never had a blowout."
Yikes. What?
Dude, she's pleaded, "Don't do that, please, please." So he took the gun out, put it back in the holster, and left the apartment. That was it. He was there for 5 fucking minutes, did that.
Yeah.
She didn't know what the fuck to do, so she just sat there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. He went home because he had to be home in time to attend his teenage son's soccer game that Saturday afternoon.
After raping a woman with a gun.
With a gun, and threatening to murder her. Yeah, he went from that to the soccer game. To go, "Come on, buddy. Wow. Good job. Good effort."
You can do better than that.
So they made up, though. She forgave him. And he promised to take her on a trip to the Virgin Islands in mid-June. We're going to go on a trip. So the FBI gets involved here. Again, two agents talked to her. Talked to Teresa about this whole thing. And at first, she told the agents a cover story saying she worked for Equit 2 and was being trained in data processing. That's one way to put it. They said, "Listen, we have reason to believe that Robinson had been involved in the disappearance of at least 2 young women." So now she started to cry, and they were like, "Come on, get it out." So she said, "Okay, he, assaulted me with his gun, and he's going to take me to the Virgin Islands." And the other thing she said was, at his insistence, she has been fabricating a diary accusing his friend Irv Blattner of committing various crimes and of threatening her life. So she's writing a regular diary, like went to McDonald's, saw talked to my mom, did that, and then like the next page is like, Irv Blattner is doing all this stuff and threatening my life because he wants Irv to get in trouble. So that means he's in less trouble because Irv can't be believed about what he says about John. So John seemed to have sensed that the police were going to use Blattner to implicate him, and he wanted this fake diary. So they're questioning Williams. As they're questioning her in her fucking apartment, they hear a key in the door. 2 FBI agents. Front door opens. There's Robinson.
There he is.
Oh, shit. So the agents said, they identify themselves, and they hold up the diary and ask if it's his handwriting. And he says it is. Yeah. So the agents frisk him for weapons. He has none. He said he was in a hurry and then just left the apartment. There's nothing they could do to hold him there. Okay. They have no reason to hold him or anything like that.
Suspect, though. Yeah.
So, but that's even more suspect. So after he left, they insisted on moving this young lady, Williams, to another location to be kept secret from Robinson because they thought maybe her life was in danger because she had also been asked to sign blank sheets of stationery.
Really?
Like, that's a bad sign. So the FBI agents talked to the probation officer, Hames, who helped interrogate Robinson, then filed a formal report with Missouri courts that had jurisdiction over his probation. Hames alleged that Robinson had violated the terms of his probation by carrying a gun, supplying drugs to Teresa Williams, and lying to his probation officer. Yeah. He asked that the court revoke the probation and jail Robinson. Okay. He does that, but then there's a hearing, and he's released on bail pending an appeal.
Oh, my God.
So the FBI keeps Williams hidden, gives her money, and finally buys her a one-way ticket out of town. Get the fuck out of here. He's going to kill you. Yeah. The Missouri Court of Appeals overturned the district judge's ruling on the grounds that Robinson's constitutional rights had been violated because he had not been allowed to adequately confront his accuser, Teresa Williams, because they had to hide her so he didn't kill her. Right. So, July 1985, he hires a private detective to find Teresa Williams. And
Is that illegal?
He doesn't know because he doesn't know that they didn't tell him we're hiding her. So you can fire a private detective to find anybody. So at that point, the FBI found out about that and then moves her to like 3 more times for her safety to try to wash the trail.
Really full. What is that? The shell game.
Yeah, follow the queen. It's what it is. August 21st, 1985, his probation is revoked, and he is sentenced to serve 7 years at the Missouri Department of Corrections, but he wins an appeal and doesn't have to serve the time. It's fucking crazy, dude.
Oh, my God. What's the point in sentencing people?
Put a tie on, have money for a lawyer, comb your hair nice. In the 80s,
you're gonna win.
Golden. Yeah. You're great. He then appears in Farm Journal magazine.
For what?
He made the cover of Farm Journal magazine.
Comics.
The editors were unaware of his criminal record. The article was promoting people to invest in his Equitu company.
What?
2 ranchers did just that and lost $10,000 each. Yeah. 1986, after a long investigation, the district attorney in Johnson County charges him with fraud in bilking back care systems with his company here. A jury's going to convict him in January of 1986. He was then convicted of a second fraud against an Overland Park man in connection with an Arizona real estate deal. Oh. Because of his shit criminal record, the judge sentences him to serve between 6 and 19 years in prison as a habitual criminal.
Whoa.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
But he remains free on bail for his appeal.
Really?
Habitual criminal. I'm sure he'll be fine out there.
Everything's all right.
So this right after this, Catherine Clampett, Clam Pitt with 2 P's, like Pittsburgh.
Pitt. Okay.
Yeah, Clam Pitt, 27 years old. She is of Overland Park, Kansas. I guess she moved from Kansas from Wichita Falls, Texas, after answering a newspaper ad in which Robinson promised a great job, lots of traveling, and a new wardrobe. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, Clampett, she is described by her family as intelligent and a bit wild, often stayed at local hotels for several nights at a time. And then in 1987, right after this ad, she inexplicably disappears for weeks. And they call the cops finally, and she is reported officially missing on June 15th, 1987.
Okay.
Now, 87, he goes to prison. His appeals fail. So he actually goes to fucking prison. He began serving a 4-year sentence at Kansas Hutchinson Correctional Facility. He does very well in jail also because he's full of shit, and he has a couple of bucks, and it helps. So after psychological and mental testing showed his intelligence to be well above average, he was put to work as the coordinator of the prison's maintenance operations office. Okay. There, he developed computer programs that saved the Kansas prison system over $100,000 a year.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so he actually did something. And that goes in his record, makes him look good.
Yeah, that's positive.
June 1989, his father dies. John's father dies. And then John suffers a series of strokes.
Okay.
Small strokes that left permanent neurological damage and the right side of his face partially paralyzed and looks a little kind of
droopy.
A little droopy, yeah. In a 9-page report of clinical and medical evaluation dated November 1st, 1990, 2 ranking doctors here, and a supervising psychiatrist was one of them, the director of medical services and the supervising psychiatrist of the prison, wrote that John Robinson was a model inmate who made the best of his incarceration. He's a nonviolent person and does not present a threat to society. He's a devoted family man who has taught his children a strong value system. Yeah. So that's what they're saying. He is good at being full of shit.
Yeah.
1991, he gets out of Kansas prison, but he's transferred to 2 prisons in Missouri for violating probation and an old fraud charge as well. So they're passing him around. Hames writes in his official memorandum to a colleague in 1991, "I believe him to be a con man out of control. He leaves in his wake many unanswered questions and missing persons. I have observed Robinson's sociopathic tendencies, habitual criminal behavior, inability to tell the truth, and scheming to cover his own actions at the expense of others. I was not surprised to see he had a good institutional adjustment in Kansas, considering that he's quite bright and a white-collar con man capable of being quite personable and friendly to those around him." Especially staff, because they're not used to having people that can treat them like that. Educated people, that kind of thing. So Hames predicted that Robinson would use his medical problems to his advantage, which he does because 2 of the people he promptly befriends at the penitentiary in Missouri are the prison doctor, William Bonner, and mostly his 47-year-old wife, Beverly, the prison librarian.
Oh, shit.
She gave Robinson a job in the library, which is an easy job.
Yeah. It's a bad guy to be giving good free jobs to.
Yeah. There's, I'm sure, hopefully somebody, but I mean, he's smart and might know the books. That's the only difference. So Beverly Bonner here, she becomes friends with him, And she lived, the couple, her and her husband, lived in Cameron, Missouri, and they have 2 sons. And so he's an inmate there. William Bonner, like we said, is the doctor, the prison physician. So 1993, John's released from prison, and fucking Beverly Bonner divorces her husband and moves to Kansas.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The library lady?
The librarian. Divorces her doctor husband to move.
She fell in love with him.
Yeah. She told her family she had a job with his company and that included foreign travel, and she was taken off.
Oh, boy.
She told her ex-husband that she was going to be traveling abroad and gave him an address at the post office box that he could use to mail her alimony. She disappeared.
Okay.
Yep, send my checks. I'll be off doing shit. Wow. She disappeared immediately upon saying she was going, and John places all her belongings in a storage locker in a Kansas City suburb. She's not seen by her family after her final divorce proceeding in February of 94. Her brother invited her to his September 1995 wedding, but she didn't show up. And her oldest son died in October 1995, but she didn't attend his funeral or pay any attention to it. So she's gone, is what that means.
Yeah.
They tried to make it that she disappeared to travel, but all those things happening means that probably
she's dead. Yeah.
She's dead. So his income, since he was in prison, had stopped, so his wife Nancy had been forced to sell their big house with the horses and all that. She took a job as the manager of a mobile home development in Belton, Missouri, which is a suburb south of Kansas City. The development was called South Fork, after a large family home on the Dallas television series. And all the streets were named after Dallas characters.
What?
Sue Ellen Avenue, Cliff Barnes Lane, and so forth. And he's JR. How perfect is that? So they said they could make do with this because the twins were in college, so they didn't need as much room. They just rented some storage units at a facility for their overflow shit. Mm-hmm. At this point, he starts a magazine.
What?
Yeah, everything I tell you is like, at this point, it might as well be, at this point, he orbited Pluto. You'd be like, okay, why not? Sure. Yeah, he has a company called Specialty Productions, or Publications, where he put out a trade magazine called Manufactured Modular Home Living.
What? They got their own. They can't.
Not
they
even
can't afford a house. Why can't they afford publications?
And who wants to read about how others are living inside their trailers? Oh, let's see.
Be reminded.
No.
I want to pretend this is a house.
That's the opposite of aspirational. So early 1994. Beverly Bonner never seen again, but her mother continued to send her alimony checks to the mailbox in Olathe at a business called the Mailroom. Uh-huh. In December 1993, Robinson, posing as Jim Turner, applied for a mailbox under Bonner's name at the Mailroom, by the way. The owner, Colleen Davis, identified Robinson later on as the person she knew as Turner. That's another one of his aliases. Robinson executed a lease for Box 182 under Bonner's name on January 1st, 1994, presented Bonner's identification, and told Davis he was collecting Bonner's mail while she worked in Australia. This person at the store never met Bonner and only saw Robinson access the mailbox. This William Bonner paid his ex-wife $1,000 in monthly alimony for 18 months. He mailed them every time. Every alimony check was deposited into Robinson's Hydro Grow Inc. business account.
Oh.
Yep. That is fucking wild. It's at the Community Bank of Raymore. He opened that on February 1st, 1994, with James A. Turner and Beverly J. Bonner as the authorized signatories. So, wow. 3 latent fingerprints lifted from the original alimony checks match Robinson's prints, by the way, later on. He attempted to conceal Bonner's disappearance with fraudulent communications to her family. In January 94, her brother, Larry Heath, received a handwritten letter purportedly from Bonner that said she was starting a new career with an international corporation in Chicago and that she would be training extensively, domestically and abroad. A few months...
Real busy.
Super busy, leave me alone. A few months later, Larry Heath, the brother, received a typewritten letter purportedly from Bonner, which was unusual because she always wrote letters by hand. And the letter said that Bonner was working for Jim Redmond in the Human Resources Department of a large international corporation. Larry Heath continued to receive similar typewritten letters every 3 to 4 months.
Really?
Think about how to keep track of all this shit. Oh, shit, it's been 3 months.
Yeah.
It's been 3 months. I got to fucking write a letter to this. Like, this is crazy. It's a lot of plates.
Got to send my quarterlies out.
Wow, that's a lot of plates to keep spinning. Imagine having to think of all that shit. That sounds so stressful.
That's how you don't have it. He doesn't have a day job, James. This is
scamming.
Yeah. Most people think about their day job all the time. This guy just thinks about this all the time.
This is more work than a day job, though.
Yeah, just get a job.
Easier
man,
to get a fucking job, man. It would have been easier just to go to medical school. This would have been way easier. So the brother would respond now and then, mailing the correspondence to the mailbox. During the same period, another relative received about half dozen letters, which arrived in envelopes postmarked Australia, France, the Netherlands, and Kansas City, Missouri.
How did he do that?
The letters were typewritten, often discussed Bonner's travel overseas, and were signed with what Bonner believed to be inner handwriting. Huh. I think it's part of the S&M and BDSM thing. He's got a lot of friends overseas. He's got a lot of weirdos. So, yeah, he could
send them in an envelope there and then be like, just take off this envelope and throw it in the mail for me.
That's it. Just throw it in the mail. Summer of 1994, Sheila Dale Faith, the word faith. She's 45 years old. And she has a daughter named Debbie Lynn Faith, who's 15 years old. Here, Debbie Lynn was born in 1978. Debbie is born with a bunch of birth defects. She's got a lot of problems.
Really?
She has cerebral palsy, which is
oh my God,
really difficult. And I knew somebody who had a relative. It's a terrible fucking thing to happen to somebody.
Palsy?
Palsy's bad. Yeah, it's awful, which limited her ability to walk. Anything like controlling her bladder was difficult. She had to wear adult diapers as a 15-year-old. Poor kid. Poor fucking child, man. Now, as if things weren't hard enough for Sheila, taking care of her child and everything else, her husband died in 1993.
Yikes.
Died. So Sheila moved with Debbie from California to Pueblo, Colorado, to be closer to a close friend of hers who was going to help out. So Sheila and Debbie lived on Social Security and obviously struggled financially to meet things like doctor bills and stuff. So Sheila, according to her friend, was lonely and would respond to personal ads in hopes of meeting somebody.
What?
Her husband died. She's lonely. You know what I mean? So on several occasions, Sheila talked to this Guerrero person, her friend, about her interest in BDSM, but didn't share details because Guerrero was uncomfortable with the subject. Someone's got to be into that subject to really talk about it with him.
So she's a little bit of a freak, huh?
She's this one's yeah. Sheila's sister also believed that Sheila was interested in BDSM. So in spring of 1994, Sheila told her friend that she had met a man named John from Missouri. She said John was a wealthy executive who promised to take her on a cruise and put Debbie in a private school. John, quote, promised her the world, the friend recalled. He told her he was going to take her on a cruise, that he would take care of her daughter, that she'd never have to work, that money was no problem. Sheila told her sister, Kathy, that she met a man with a good job, they planned to travel together, and that he planned to buy Debbie a new wheelchair and an accessible van.
Nice.
Wow. The sister said that Sheila called him Jim Turner, either in a letter or during a phone conversation. She couldn't remember. Sheila told her friend that she and Debbie were going to visit John. They planned to be gone for about a month, spending a couple weeks with John in Missouri and then traveling to Texas to visit family. So this friend expected Sheila to return within a few weeks because they had purchased tickets to the Colorado State Fair, and Sheila planned to enter a cross-stitched angel into the fair competition. She's going to win the cross-stitching prize here at the Colorado State Fair. While Sheila packed, Guerrero noticed she did not take furniture, bedding, or other items that you need to move. She's just taking shit to go on a vacation. So, so they packed up their belongings. They moved to Kansas City, where they fucking disappeared. Mom and daughter, gone. They vanished, but their mail, including their disability checks, was being forwarded to a mailbox at the mailroom.
Oh, boy.
Yep. Neither the friend or Sheila's sisters spoke to Sheila or Debbie ever again after they left Colorado to visit him. Additionally, in 1995, Robinson gave one of his other girlfriends, Sandra Shields, a cross-stitched angel as a gift.
No.
Yep. That is fucking horrifying.
That's dirty.
Yep, the friend, the Guerrero, the missing woman's friend, later identified the item as the piece Sheila had made to enter into the state fair competition.
Yuck.
Hey everybody, we have some exciting news that we want to share. If you want to go on an adventure with Generation Y, we'd love for you to join us. January 26th through the 30th, 2026, we'll be sailing from Miami to the Bahamas on Wondery's first ever true crime cruise aboard the Norwegian Joy. Aaron and I will be there to chat, hang out, dive into all things true crime, and we're thrilled to be joined by some familiar voices in the true crime podcasting world. Surti and Hannah from Red Handed, Sashi and Sarah from Scamfluencers, and Carl Miller from Kill List. Super excited to hang out with them too. We got some cool activities, interactive mysteries we can solve, testing our forensic skills with a blood spatter expert, and so much more. So for some sun, fun, and just the right amount of mystery solving, come join us. If you'd like to know more and secure your spot, visit exhibitccruise.com for pre-sale information.
Megan Stoner was a young, passionate Republican and a self-proclaimed advocate for mental health. But behind her public persona lurked a master of deception. I'm Tiffany Reese, host of Something Was Wrong. In season 22, we're diving into the twisted world of a con artist who's been allegedly scamming and making false claims for over a decade. From the US to Canada, Megan Stoner has left a trail of devastation for her victims. But after a brief period of incarceration, she's now back out on the streets. And although she's free now, we're actively working with law enforcement to further justice for the victims of her alleged crimes. This isn't just another true crime story. It's a wake-up call about trust, deception, and the power of community to fight back. Follow Something Was Wrong on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of Something Was Wrong Season 22 ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
That is fucked up. Now, after Sheila and Debbie left, Sheila's sisters received letters written by Sheila.
On the type machine?
A typewritten letter purportedly from Sheila in a envelope postmarked Canada.
Okay.
The letter said that Sheila had met a wonderful man named Jim and all this shit. Now, the sister was convinced the letter was a fraud because Sheila always wrote letters by hand, and Sheila's signature didn't appear to be her signature. So they she received another letter the following December. Again, she was convinced Sheila didn't write it. It was typed out and all that kind of shit. But they're all postmarked from outside the country. So, but for years, since they're not like nothing, we don't know what happened to them, their checks keep coming.
Okay.
And he keeps collecting them.
Oh.
Yep. In June 1994, months after setting up the private mailbox under Bonner's name, posing as Jim Turner, he set up another private mailbox at the same place under the name Sheila and Debbie Faith. And the owner saw Robinson come to the mailbox at least once a month to collect 2 government checks mailed to Sheila and Debbie. Holy, he is pure. This is a disabled child.
Yeah,
Ugh.
pure garbage.
Dude, it's one thing to scam adults and be like, yeah, I'm going to get you here for sex and then I'm going to kill you. That's normal. People expect that. When you answer a BDSM ad in a newspaper back then, you go, this could be really fun or I could be murdered. One of the two.
It's going to be really fun, or he's going to murder me and my child that has disabilities and then keep our checks.
That's disgusting. I mean, obviously wrong to murder any of these people, but a 15-year-old fucking disabled child, that's about as disgusting of a move as you could possibly fucking do.
And you got to kill that girl, too. If you're killing the mom, you're killing that girl, too. That's fucked up.
Yeah, what are you going to do? Push her into the woods in her wheelchair and leave her there? Right. Yeah, you got to kill her somehow. So from July 94 to September 95, the checks were deposited into Robinson's Hydro Grow Inc. business account. The same one he used to deposit the alimony checks. Wow. In fall of 1995, Community Bank of Raymore notified Robinson, a.k.a. James Turner, that the Social Security checks could not be deposited into a business account. Thereafter, he deposited the checks into his specialty publications accounts at other financial institutions. He also, that's Jesus Christ, wow, attached to the disability form here, he completed a disability form for our disability review form for Debbie and signed by Sheila. So the report appeared to be signed by Dr. William Bonner.
Like
Beverly,
William Bonney?
like Beverly's husband.
Oh, yeah.
That's William Bonner. That's the doctor from the prison.
The guy she divorced, yeah.
But he never treated Debbie Faith, had not prepared the report, and had never had an address, an office at the address listed. December 95, he's collecting enough money from other people's alimony and Social Security that this is wild. He puts $95,000 down for a house for his son and grandchildren in Big Pine Key, Florida.
Wow.
Weird. So around the neighborhood now, he's starting to be known as a dirty old man who made sexual advances on many of his female neighbors. Again, now, though, by the time you're 50, you can't do that shit. When you're 32, you might be able to bang some of your wife's neighbors. By the time you're 50, you're just a dirty old man then.
And you wake up one day, and that day has arrived.
It's there.
It sneaks up on you fast.
Fast.
Where you start saying gross things, then people go, ew.
Yeah. It's mid-30s is when that happens at some point.
That's when it happens.
That's when it happens. That's when it happens. So
you go, I want to suck on your tits, and they go, gross.
Ew. Oh, my bad. Gross. You're like, oh. Well, I guess I shouldn't have said that to you right outside the jungle gym, I suppose.
Yeah.
That was as much the environment as what I said, you know what I mean? I guess. So,
Can you count that change back one more time?
Yeah. No, the rainbow snow cone is the one I wanted. Yeah, no. Sorry about that. Kids, it's your turn. I'm sorry. I tried. Line of kids behind you. So he even crept around the trailer park, driving slowly by their trailers on his golf cart when he knew their husbands weren't home. He was peering in. Somehow he is still married. Nancy's still hanging around here.
Jesus.
Now, this is in Santa Barbara Estates in Olathe. He spends a lot of time here. This is in his mobile home. In front of his 5 computers at this point. And this is 1990s. So this is like 95. Yeah, this is
compact Presarios.
But you know how expensive 5 fucking computers was in the 90s?
That's $15,000.
Dude, that's so much money. And he's sitting there, and he's on the internet this time, too. Yeah. 95 on the internet, searching BDSM shit.
Damn.
So the early internet adopters were either wrestling fans, like code dorks who were trading like hacking shit and code stuff, or really horny people that were into shit that was too weird to tell people in person. Yeah.
And people that are like, now I can put now I can say anything I want because nobody can see me.
Now I can go by Slavemaster. Because that's what he's going by.
Name?
That's his handle here. So he's searching all the BDSM shit on the internet here. Yeah. He began placing and monitoring ads in The Pitch Weekly, a so-called alternative newspaper in Kansas City, whose back pages feature personal columns called Romance, the Dating Connection, for people seeking conventional relationships, and The Wild Side for people who prefer the unconventional. It's like the LA Weekly ads we read in the personal ads.
It's back page for real.
Yeah. So now that the internet's here, though, now it really expands. He was doing all this from magazine ads and weird newspaper ads. Now there's the internet. Now he's connected to everybody. So way beyond The Pitch Weekly. It's ridiculous. So he had 3 desktops, 2 laptop computers going, trolling BDSM websites for hours under the Slavemaster handle here. He's living with his wife in a 3-bedroom trailer. It's wild. He's also got a cell phone, a pager. He's emailing everybody already. And Nancy's working at the office manager at the Santa Barbara Estates. Okay. Around September 1st, 1995, he spotted an ad which read, "Masterful, successful, entrepreneurial, single white male, 35 to 50, sought by successful Rubenesque beauty."
Okay.
So it's for a guy, a woman looking for a man.
What does Rubenesque mean? Like stoddard?
No, it means curvy. It means you got tits and ass.
Yeah.
Rubenesque means tits and ass. It used to mean fat. Now it means tits and ass.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We've changed it now to that. So he left a voicemail, and she called him back. She went by the name Chloe Elizabeth to conceal her identity as a successful, well-known, college-educated businesswoman in Topeka, Kansas.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. She's a career, minded person, never got married. She was accustomed to dominating in her business life and had decided it was time to seek what she truly wanted in her personal life. Wow, yeah, which is a dominant who, quote, a dominant with whom I can give up control of the personal side of my life and obey a worthy man who would advance my sexual and personal journey beyond what I was willing to admit wanting on my own.
It's crazy because they'll accept that from somebody that is a horrifying human being.
Horrifying person, yeah. Horrifying.
She could be a smoking hot woman, and she will allow an absolute bridge troll to whack her with a cat of nine tails.
Our fucking brains are weird, aren't they?
What
How
the
that works?
fuck is that?
The psychology of that shit? Wow. So she said, I was looking for someone who was in business for himself because I believe that provides a dynamic and a personality that I'm seeking, one that I understand, one that I'm like. JR made me feel like he was pretty close to the type of man I like to date. We had many phone conversations before we actually met for the first time. She asked Robinson to send her documents to prove that he was the one who he says he was. She said, I'm not at all a paranoid person, but in a relationship of DNS where you're sincere about what you're doing, you really need to know the person you're going to give the control up is someone who will take good care of you. Yeah, you need to trust them. Right. Yeah. Jesus. So he sent her, now she's using her real name and address, an array of material designed to portray him in the best possible light. Chicago newspapers accounts of his appearance before the Queen in London, what we told you about, his hydroponics booklet, just to show, look, I'm a real person. I'm all filled out. Kansas University brochure picturing his attractive children, his appearance on the cover of Farm Journal, and his proclamation naming him Man of the Year.
Right.
Wow. No indication of his criminal past or anything like that. Yeah. But anyway, 2 months after their first conversation, she and JR had discussed their sexual preferences extensively by phone. Yeah. She knew what he, as the dominant, was expected of her. Yeah. She said, quote, I was to meet him at the door wearing only a sheer robe, a black mesh thong panty, matching demi-cup bra, thigh-high stockings, and black heels. My eyes were to be made up dark and lips red, and I was to kneel before him. He was wearing a dark navy single-breasted business suit, a starched light blue shirt with gold cufflinks, burgundy striped tie, and polished shoes. Once inside the door, he took a leather-studded collar from his jacket and placed it around my neck and attached a long leash to the collar. I took him first to the library and a large king chair in front of the fire. Next to it, I had put his drink of choice, scotch on the rocks. He drew me to him, and we kissed for the first time. After some relaxed small talk, I led him through the rest of the house, ending up in my bedroom on the 3rd floor. There he asked me to remove the few items of clothing I was wearing, one at a time except for the stockings. He then took from his pocket a contract for slavery, giving my consent to use me as a sexual toy in any way he wished and to punish me in any way he saw fit. I read the contract and signed it. He asked if I was sure. I said yes, very sure.
Wow.
She is horny.
She is into this.
He put the contract back in his pocket and asked me to remove all of his clothes except his pants. He then asked me to lie face down on the bed and spread my arms and legs as wide as I could. Using a rope that he had brought, he tied my wrist to the head of the bed and my ankles to the foot of the bed. Once he had me tied up, he asked me to try to move. I couldn't. He then removed his
he's
belt.
Eagle Scout.
Yeah, he's got knots. Wow. He's got a fucking badge for that.
Yeah.
This is his BDSM badge from the Eagle Scouts.
He's real good at this.
I earned my S&M badge when I was a young man.
Golly, I showed it to the Queen of England.
Man, she was impressed. Once he had me tied, he asked me if I could move. I couldn't. He then removed his belt and began to whip me across my bottom, slowly and lightly. I could feel excitement flowing across my skin. Is this a Penthouse letter?
I don't know what this is. This is crazy.
Then the blows got harder and closer together. It was painful, and I cried. He then lay down beside me and cuddled me and comforted me and told me he loved me. He untied the ropes around my wrists and ankles and instructed me to kneel on the bed in front of him. My punishment training for the day was not over. He took a spool of smaller rope as he talked about training my large breasts. Even my large breasts, my heaving breasts. I wanted to...
Giant tits.
Jesus. I wanted to please him. He said that the breasts that the breast to be pleasing and well-trained must be able to endure pain and wear marks. He began to wrap the rope tightly around the base of the breast. He wrapped it so tightly that it bulged and turned reddish purple. He crossed the rope in the middle of my chest and began wrapping the other breast. Now both my breasts were like large ripe tomatoes, red and ready to burst. The nipples were erect and brown. He took clamps and put one on each nipple. The pain was severe. He thrust the solid leather strap of his belt down on the top side of my breast.
Oh, Jesus. Good. He's whipping her tits now?
God, he's whipping her tits while she's clamped up. The pain caused the nipples to expand and become unimaginably restricted by the clamps. Engorged to about 3 times their normal size, the nipples turned purple and blue. He strapped my breasts again. Only those swats, there would be no more today. To show my gratefulness to his attention, he required one more duty. He stood before the bed and removed his pants. He required that I perform oral sex. This was the first date. It was sensational. She loved it. He had an ability to command, to control, to corral someone as strong and aggressive and spirited as I am. So they...
What the fuck?
Yeah. She said that they asked this woman later on, is this always part of your relationships? Is pain always part of this? She said it depends on what you consider pain, which means yes.
I came. That doesn't hurt.
Means fuck yeah, it does. I wasn't interested in being beaten. I don't love pain. Some women in this lifestyle love pain. For me, there comes a physical state that you're in where what one might consider pain on your body isn't painful. Before he left, he told her that she had been stupid for allowing him to do all that he had done. I could have killed you, he said, though he hadn't told him. She said that she didn't tell him this, but she never felt threatened by him, even when she was tied, because she had stationed a male friend in the house. She has a guy hiding in the house to be on alert for some signal she gives to come in and help her. Nope, doesn't know it at all.
Wow.
He, though, made notes of JR's license plate number while they were upstairs. So she's fucking smart, this one. That's why she's alive to be interviewed later, is because she thought of all this shit. He had told her he was divorced. This is the problem here. Okay. They started seeing each other a couple times a week, but she became suspicious of him. Through a contact in state government, she ran his license plates and found out his car was registered in his wife's name as well as his. He told her he was divorced. So, yeah, they at this point, she said that they had exchanged, declarations of love. He suggested to her they should exchange lists of all their assets. Let's just write down all the stuff we have that's worth something. What do you say?
That's love.
Let's just write it down and look at it. She said, no, I don't think so. So, yeah, she was supposed to, she's supposed to, this is fucking crazy. So that she just figured out what he was about, and that was that. So
she broke it off and didn't see him anymore?
Yeah, she didn't see him anymore because he was lying to her and shit like that. So early 1997 now, Beverly Bonner's officially missing. The letters stopped coming, and her family grew concerned and contacted authorities to report her disappearance. The detective here examined 9 of the envelopes mailed to Larry Heath. 8 of the envelopes had sufficient something fluid on them to create a full DNA profile, and each profile matched Robinson. DNA. So, late 1997, Isabella Lewicka, 19 years old, born in Poland. Here, she moved to West Lafayette, Indiana, with her family at age 11. She was started to study at Purdue University in the fall of 96. She was a drawer, big into painting and shit like that, into the arts. She also had a big interest in several things like, paganism, goth shit, and BDSM she's into. In 97, spring, she told her friend Jennifer that an international book agent in Kansas City had offered her a job doing secretarial work and had commissioned her to illustrate BDSM manuscripts.
Right.
Lewicka said she was going to move to Kansas City to be with this older married man who had agreed to train her to become a dominant in BDSM. So she's going to be his little protege. Lewicka told her friend that he wanted her to call him master and to maintain strict confidentiality. Lewicka seemed concerned when she inadvertently told her friend that the master's name was John. She was like, oh shit, I wasn't supposed to say that. So in late 97, she told her parents she was dropping out of school to move to Kansas City, where a rich entrepreneur had offered her an internship. She also signed the slave contract. It's a 115-item contract, by the way.
115 agreements?
A lot of initialing going on there.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Here, an initial here, and here.
And an initial here, if you'll allow this. Initial here for boob fucking pain. Initial here. Wow. A fact that she didn't tell her parents, though, obviously. She never comes home again and communicates with her parents strictly through email. So, yeah, she keeps saying it's a publishing company internship. If it led to a job, she might stay longer, but maybe she'd be back to Purdue for 97. You don't know. So she would be living, as she told them, at 9280 Metcalf in Overland Park and could be reached by email. So, June 8th, 97, she left for Kansas with her car filled full of shit, and all of her friends knew that she moved to Kansas for both work and BDSM training.
Jesus.
So, 1998, she registers at a local community college as Isabella Lewicka Robinson.
Last name his.
Oh, yeah. No, they're married, he says, at this point. Yeah, they're married, even though they're not married. They leased a private mailbox at Mailboxes, etc., at the same address that she gave her parents there, so it's not a physical address. It's just a Mailboxes store. Both Lewicka and Robinson were authorized to access the box. October 1997, Robinson had his insurance agent write a 2-year auto policy on Lewicka's vehicle, explaining she was an employee. On November 14th, Lewicka opened up an account at Bank of America, where Robinson also had an account for specialty publications. February 1998, Robinson contacted Jennifer Bonadot, a property manager for the Deerfield apartment complex in Olathe. He said he needed a corporate apartment for employees he would train before they were transferred to positions out of state. In the rental application, he identified himself and Lewicka as prospective occupants. He told this woman that he met Lewicka at a graphics trade show and that she had been abused by her parents and that he had adopted her.
Oh, so it's an adoption, not a marriage.
Okay. That's what he tells some people, and some people they tell they're married, and some people they say that it's his daughter.
Depending on the acceptability of the situation.
Yep, this sounds nice to these people.
Yeah.
So he paid the rent. He signed a 1-year rental agreement and paid the rent with a specialty publications check, and Lewicka occupied the apartment for the next year there. So July 1998, he buys 16 acres of land. I guess he had bought this land sometime a couple years ago, maybe, or whatever. It's in Lasinge, Kansas. L-A, separate word, C-Y-G-N-E. Lasigne? Kingagen? I don't fucking know. Either way.
Yeah.
It's going to be a bad one to pronounce. So he buys 16 acres of old farmland there. He stores a 1999 trailer on the property as well. In 1998, here he installs 2 phone lines, and one for his landline, one for his computer. Got to have the fucking dedicated internet phone line back then.
Damn it, yeah.
January 99, just before the lease expired at the apartment, he contacted Julie Brown, a manager for A.J. Lang Property Management. Downtown Julie Brown, she's back, to find an apartment. Robinson said he was in the publication business and needed a corporate apartment again for female employees. Same shit. So Lewicka then moves to that apartment and he pays the rent there.
Okay.
Now, while here, she works for Specialty Publications, handling advertising and graphics for his magazine.
All right.
She actually does that. In 1998, Robinson told his publishing broker, Karen Scott, he had hired his adopted daughter as a graphic designer.
Nice work.
Wow. Lewicka told a woman named Pam Sadewhite, who owns a graphic arts company that did work for Robinson, that Robinson was her uncle, but this woman saw them flirting and touching one another in a manner that suggested this would be a pretty weird uncle-niece relationship. She often told people she was Robinson's wife. She registered for an introductory drafting class at Johnson Community College under the name of Robinson and told an instructor she was married to an older man. And she also identified herself as Isabella Robinson to several employees of local businesses, but they never had a license. Or he did give her a ring and paid for a marriage license, but never picked it up.
Didn't get it. That's expensive. Isn't that like a couple $100?
It's like in Arizona it was $78. So
yeah,
not much. So, because whenever Sarah's doing something and I go like, she goes, "You paid $78 for this," and I go, "Okay, fine, fair enough." So Nancy gets a surprise here. Wife Nancy, she did not know that he's been doing any of this stuff. She thought he's just with anybody.
Yeah,
she doesn't even know what he's into sexually. She doesn't know.
She just found out about the 115 things.
Yeah. In 1998, that's when she learned he was into fucking BDSM.
Yeah.
That's when she figured it out after discovering fetish websites saved in his internet browser history. See? He was the first guy to get busted like that, I think.
One of them for sure, yeah.
Man, so
she found out how to do it, how to look.
Yeah, she figured it out.
Her the
like,
cookies.
you motherfucker.
She was like, I'm going to check it at home. Shit.
She tried to go to some fucking crafting site she was on, and she's looking through the history. And she's like, wait a second. So Robinson shared stories of his BDSM stuff with a guy named Carlos Ibarra, a maintenance employee at the trailer park. Tell the guy.
Trailer park janitor, come here.
Yeah, come here for a minute. Hey, turn that fucking hedge clipper off for a minute. I got to tell you something. Showed him nude photographs also.
You ever box knot a titty?
It's pretty good. Hey, you seem to be pretty good at tying up those bushes to keep them off the road. Do you think you could tie up a titty? He showed this guy nude photographs of a girlfriend depicted in BDSM poses. So Nancy Robinson also learned about the relationship with Isabella Lewicka. She believed the relationship was different from any other affairs he might have had in the past because when Nancy had learned of an affair in the past, Robinson had always ended it immediately if she had ever found out about something. It was like, but here, this time the relationship continued, and Nancy thought that he was going to leave her for Lewicka.
Yeah.
And he was just doing it in the open. Fuck you, I'm doing it.
I just like it.
So Lewicka disappears in the late summer or fall of 1999. People stop hearing from her. So earlier that summer, Robinson convinced another woman, Barbara Sandry, to move from Canada to Kansas. On August 18th, they executed a lease for an unfurnished duplex at Hunters Point, located on Grant Street in Overland Park. Barbara Sandra needed furnishings for the duplex, and Robinson agreed to provide them. On August 23rd, he hired a moving company to deliver household items from Lewicka's apartment to this woman's apartment.
Oh my God, that's so creepy.
That is fucked up. Over the next 2 weeks, he bought additional furnishings, including bedding and pillows, blankets, kitchen utensils, artwork, and hundreds of books. Many of these items were later identified as belonging to Lewicka.
That is fucked, man.
That's so fucked up, man. Jesus Christ. So he also rekindles his relationship with a woman named Alicia Cox from earlier in 1999. Later that year, Cox was unemployed and didn't have permanent housing, so Robinson invited her to stay at Lewicka's apartment.
Yep.
This woman said that the apartment was mostly vacant, but there were some boxes containing clothing and household items. Robinson told told Cox that the girl who'd been living there quit her job and ran off with her boyfriend, leaving the clothes behind. So this Alicia Cox took some of the clothing, which was later identified as Lewicka's. Cox declined the offer to stay in the apartment. So, anyway, he ends up getting rid of that apartment. They inspected the unit later on and found it to be mostly unkempt, but noticed 2 bedrooms had been cleaned meticulously, but the rest of it was shitty. Fall 1999, Suzette Troughton, Trouten, 27 years old, youngest of 5 children. She lived near her mother in the Monroe, Michigan area. She's a home care nurse, and she talks to her mother daily. Yeah. Now, one thing she doesn't tell her mother in these daily talks is that she's super into fucking BDSM. She goes to websites, chat rooms, created her own BDSM webpage, and traveled out of state for BDSM hookups.
Really?
This is her hobby, yeah. She's into collecting teapots, hanging out with her 2 Pekingese dogs, and also BDSM. She was so deeply involved in the scene that she carried on relationships with 4 dominants at once.
What?
Wow,
Do they know about each other?
That's a lot of masters, man.
Yeah.
She had pierced her nipples to her navel, and 5 places in and around her genitalia. I don't know, 5. Yeah, I'm thinking 1, 2, 3.
Side, top.
That's
that
4.
Be 6. You
That's
know
what I'm saying.
Side,
5.
top. That could be 6.
Side, top is 4. You just said 4 and then said 6.
Right, but if you double them up on each one, that's 6.
I guess.
Yeah.
If you double them up. Otherwise, what are we talking about here?
You could pierce the taint. You could pierce the
That's
asshole.
what I mean. I'm trying to think of exactly where she's putting 5.
It's probably right behind, right? Because you can pierce the taint.
I'm sure,
taint
yeah.
area?
Sure, why not? Who doesn't have a pierced taint? So
I think that's what it is.
Maybe. I'm not sure. We don't know. But she's got all of this shit, and these are used to accommodate rings and other devices used in BDSM shit. That's why so they can grab her down there. A photograph of Suzette with nails driven through her breasts circulated on the internet.
Why?
She's one of these people. I don't know, man. She
How?
likes the real painful shit. I just got creeped
Through
out
the
in my
nips,
chair.
right? Not through the
It
breasts.
says through her breasts. I'm not sure.
Oh, my God.
So in the mid-'90s, she met Lore Remington, a Canadian resident who shared her interests in all this shit. Remington trained her as a slave, the submissive partner here. Remington introduced Troughton to her friend Tammy Taylor, who also lived in Canada, and became another friend. Troughton placed ads on BDSM websites seeking a position as a slave, and her and Robinson started communicating by email. In the summer of 99, Troughton told her mother that this Robinson offered her a job as caring for his elderly father, Papa John, quote unquote. He's elderly and dumb as fuck, and his pizza's terrible. Troughton said Robinson and his father were selling off several companies and that Papa John needed nursing care as they traveled to various locations to close deals. Troughton said the job would pay $60,000 a year and require extensive travel to places such as Switzerland and Belgium. Yeah. And, so February 2000, Suzette moves to him. She moves to Kansas City to work for JR. She left Robinson's name and phone number with her mother, with whom she's very close with. Right. So she said she had an interview with Robinson in October 1999. She came back a few days later, told her mother that she did not like the idea of being away from home, but had decided to take the job for a year to earn enough money to go to school. So she had to go back again, sign an employment contract. We know what that is. And find a place to live. And she told everybody she got a job working for a guy named John who needed someone to care for the elderly father and all this type of shit. So just before Troughton left, her aunt helped her create a list of her friends and family's contact information so she could stay in touch. February 12th, 2000, Troughton left for Kansas, bringing along her 2 Pekingese dogs, Pika and Harry, in the moving truck that Robinson rented for her. So she drove. In her truck were her clothes, books, dogs, and teapot collection. That's pretty much what she's got. Also, her BDSM stuff, whips, paddles, canes, collars, all that shit. So she arrived here February 14th, very romantic, and checked into room 216 at the Guest House Suites in Lenexa. Mm-hmm. He reserved the room for 7 nights under his company's name, Specialty Publications, and then it was extended for another week. She checked into the room. Hotel staff informed her of their no pet policy. So what they did was they boarded them at the Ridgeview Animal Hospital. Okay. He said that the dogs belonged to his employees and indicated the dogs would be boarded through the end of February. So while she's in Kansas, Troughton calls her mom every day, told her mom she decided to put her belongings in storage rather than find an apartment immediately because they're going to be leaving on their trip. Then she said their itinerary had changed. Rather than traveling to Switzerland as originally planned, they decided to go to California, pick up Robinson's new yacht, and sail to Hawaii first.
Wow.
So Robinson could relax before resuming his meetings. Yeah, this got much better. Holy shit. So Troughton and her mom communicate daily on an instant messaging program on Yahoo. And in these conversations, she discusses that she was in a sexual relationship with Robinson, with one of her friends. Mm-hmm. And she was. So Anyway, Robinson's concealment she ends up disappearing, obviously.
Yeah.
So on February 25th, 2000, he sent Troughton an email message requesting login and password information for all of her email accounts, and she provided that information to him in a reply email, and so then he uses this to be able to use her email. The last time Carolyn Troughton heard from her daughter Suzette was around 1 a.m. on March 1st, 2000. She called her mother at work and said that she and Robinson were leaving on the trip that morning, and that's it. Never saw her again. That is fucking interesting. At 11:43 a.m., a long-distance call was placed from Robinson's Lynn County trailer to Nancy Robinson's work phone, so that's where he is. John, at 2:13 p.m., Robinson picked up Troughton's dogs at the animal clinic. Employees said Robinson appeared to be agitated and in a hurry. He told one employee he was in a rush to get to the airport. Robinson placed the dogs in a small kennel and left, and Troughton was not seen with Robinson in his truck at the clinic as well. So, at 2:35 here, this is now 2:24. That was 2:13. 2:24 at p.m., his access code was used to gain entry through the security gates at his Olathe storage unit, and the code was used to exit the facility 6 minutes later. 2:35 p.m., Animal Control Officer Rodney E. McLean was dispatched to the Santa Barbara Estates after Robinson instructed the office assistant to report 2 dogs on the loose.
Oh, dogs running around.
Yep,
Pekingese?
McLean arrived 10 minutes later and saw 2 Pekingese dogs inside a small, medium-sized carrying kennel located just outside the office and transported them to the local shelter. So, this is around 3 p.m. A housekeeper at the guest house suites observed a man matching Robinson's physical description, loading Troughton's belongings from room 216 into a truck, matching the description of Robinson's vehicle in the hotel parking lot. When she cleaned the room, she noticed that the linens and towels were stained with blood.
Oh, what?
Yeah. However, she observed similar blood stains when she cleaned the room throughout Troughton's stay. Troughton had an irregular menstrual cycle and would bleed heavily. Onto the towels? Doesn't she have things for that? Just onto the
towel?
Jesus, fuck, man. We got to change the carpeting when she leaves? What's going on? How much is she bleeding?
Baby, you need a doctor.
Wow. Around 3:30 p.m., a hotel security camera captured Robinson checking out of Troughton's room. Hotel staff confirmed Robinson was the person who checked out of the room and paid the bill. He was not with Robinson. She wasn't with them at the time, and the hotel employees did not see her at all on March 1st. Then the family starts receiving letters from her.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah, all sorts of letters. Return address, it only said Suzette Troughton, though. There was no return address, saying she had plans to leave for California. March 2nd, 2000, the day of her disappearance, people are receiving emails from her Hotmail account saying that her and her dogs had left on the adventure of a lifetime and all this type of shit. Her friend received a reply from Troughton's Hotmail account referencing him to a new master at eruditemaster@email.com. Okay.
Say it again.
eruditemaster@email.com. I didn't know that was a .com you could get.
Email.com, but okay.
So letters and emails keep coming. They go to her family, including her aunt, her sister, her brother, her father's girlfriend, all these people that she normally communicates. He looked through her shit, sees who she normally communicates with, and communicates with them. April 9th, 2000, just before her birthday, Troughton's grandmother received a birthday card written by her.
Oh, okay.
Green envelope, postmarked San Jose, California, on March 27th. That is what it came in. So that's interesting. So they keep getting all this shit, but everyone's like, this is very odd here. And at one point, Robinson asked a friend of his, a former employee of Nancy Robinson, here to mail some letters for him from California as a favor. And all of these things had a San Jose postmark that everybody was getting. April 9th, 2000, he's also like, oh, let me keep track of LaWicca, too. I forgot about her.
Right.
So he sends suspicious correspondence after that, too. LaWicca's father exchanged 25 to 30 emails with his daughter after she moved to Kansas.
What?
Oh, yeah. And then at one point, LaWicca responded to emails. Her tone was consistently abrasive and short out of nowhere. and said, "What the hell do you want?" and telling her dad to leave her alone. On April 14th, Lewicka's father received an email from his daughter's account. The message said she and another person had spent the last 2 weeks traveling the countryside in China. And they said, unlike the previous emails, the tone of this message was respectful and polite. Okay. Having a great time. Loving China. Traveled the whole wall. April 27, 2000, he's posing as Jim Turner and discusses Troughton's disappearance in an email to a friend of Troughton, claiming that Troughton had stolen his credit cards and that he had hired a private investigator to look into it. This guy, then he asked the friend, who's a former, this is the guy who taught her the BDSM shit, the Remington guy. So Robinson asked Remington for information on all of Troughton's previous BDSM partners. This Remington guy contacts law enforcement, then provides the requested information via email. Law enforcement officers found a printed copy of the email chain in Robinson's possession later on. So Robinson used the email to conceal Troughton's disappearance, but also to lure Troughton's friends into new BDSM relationships. That's what he wants. He got a mailing list, basically.
He got her Rolodex.
And was like, cool, let's fucking do this shit. So this is wild. In March 17, 2000, Robinson, posing as Tom, responded to an email describing himself as very aggressive and hardworking businessman and outlining his ground rules for a BDSM relationship. Taylor and Robinson, posing as Tom, continued to communicate and discuss BDSM relationships via email. Okay. Then Troughton's family receives a bunch of letters in May, postmarked from Veracruz, Mexico. And they're signed, "Love you, Suzette." So, once again, the Robinson made arrangements for several letters to be mailed from Mexico in May of 2000. A woman named Lydia Ponce lived in Veracruz, Mexico. Her son, Carlos Ibarra, was the maintenance man that he was showing BDSM pictures to. That's how he knows these people.
Wow.
So this guy, he said, "Hey, you're Mexican, right?" And he went, "Yeah." And he goes, "You got any family there?" And he goes, "Yeah, my mother lives there."
Send this to your mom. Yeah.
Make your mom mail these for me, will you?
I'll show you some crazy tied up titties.
Wow. Spring 2000, Vicky Newfield lives in Texas. She lost her job as a geriatric therapist in March of 2000, and her financial situation was not good. Newfield placed personal ads on BDSM websites and began emailing Robinson. They discussed potential relationships, and he sent her a slave contract to review.
Right.
On April 23rd, 2000, Robinson asked Newfield to visit him in Kansas. Robinson said he was a wealthy businessman with a history of helping other professional women get established in the area.
What a good guy.
He promised to support her and said that they could possibly pursue a relationship. He arranged for Newfield to stay at the Extended Stay America in Overland Park. She arrived April 23rd, 2000. As Robinson requested, she brought her own sex toys along for the trip.
All right.
They engaged in sexual activity at various times during her stay. On the morning of April 26th, Robinson told Newfield he was leaving for a business trip in Israel and wanted to discuss a plan for her to move to Kansas. Yeah. Robinson said his business would pay movers to bring her belongings to Kansas that weekend. Robinson asked Newfield to leave her sex toys with him, explaining it would give her extra incentive to return. Newfield left behind her rattan-type canes and a mesh bag full of sex toys she valued at $700.
That's two things.
There's a lot. We've talked about plenty of these on Your Stupid Opinions.
There's some that could be $10 or some that could be $500.
Yeah. She then went back to Texas again to wait for the movers who never arrived.
What? Did he give up?
No, he just stole her sex toys.
He just...
He said, "Ma'am, that's my dildo, and I'm taking it."
Ma'am, I'll take it. Why did he do that?
Yep. Wow. On May 22nd, 2000, she asked him to please return her sex toys, but he said no.
No, these are now mine.
She filed a police report for a bag full of sex toys, which is, I admire that. The fact that she's like, "I don't give a fuck. I'll tell the cops every dildo I had in that fucking thing. All of them."
That is $700 worth of dildos, man. I want them back, or you can talk to the cops about it.
Holy shit. So law enforcement found the sex toys several days later during a search of his storage locker that we'll talk about later on. Robinson sent money to Vicky. This Vicky, I recently laid off psychologist from Texas who was suffering from depression and lack of meaningful relationships. This is Vicky Newfield here. Police had tapped his phone and were aware of his contacts with Vicky. He's being watched all the time now.
Yeah.
When she visits him over Easter weekend, the police listened in the next room of the hotel while they engaged in very rough sex.
Oh, my God.
Robinson forced her into sex acts she did not want to do, took photos when she was tied up despite her explicit instructions not to, and slapped her much harder than she expected.
Oh, boy.
These acts constituted sexual battery, and in addition, Robinson left her without any money and alone in a strange city for several days before returning. When he came back, he told her to go back to Texas and await further instructions, but kept all of her sex toys.
Yeah.
So, 2000 here. This is Jean, or I've seen it in multiple places as Jean or Gina, like Geanna or Geanne. She's 34, divorced, unemployed accountant from Texas, came to Kansas City to begin working at Robinson's executive assistant for his hydroponics business.
Right.
He put her in the hotel where he robbed Vicky's sex toys. She's divorced, 34, looking for a relationship. She wants a BDSM relationship and a job at the same time. She's like, I'm looking for someone who can hire me in a job and beat the shit out of me at night and make me come.
Spank the motherfuck out of these titties.
What do you think happens here?
Yeah.
So they explored their likes and dislikes of BDSM shit extensively via phone and internet, invited her to Kansas for a long weekend, put her up in a hotel where they engaged in various types of sexual things. Toward the end of her stay, they agreed that she would move to Kansas and work for one of his companies. Man, his dick must be magic. When returned to Kansas in mid-May, Robinson installed her in the guest house suites in Lenexa where he had kept Suzette Troughton. They had sex on the afternoon of May 16th. One day that week, he didn't show up when they were supposed to do shit. On Friday, May 19th, Robinson telephoned her, told her he was on his way, and instructed her when he arrived, she should be nude and kneeling in a corner of the room with her hair pulled back. When he entered the room, he grabbed her by the hair and began flogging her across her breasts and back. He insisted she pose for photographs, even though she told him she didn't want him to take pictures. He was particularly interested in photographing the marks his floggings had left on her body. He told her that he didn't like her attitude, and if she didn't change, she would have to move back home. Listen, you're going to go to HR in a minute here. This is ridiculous.
Hey, why don't you take the day off and think about it? You're suspended with no pay. Go
no
home.
Pay. Christ, you're docked. He left the room. That's a bad thing to say because that could happen. He left the hotel room saying he would return. She became hysterical. She went to Kansas and all this type of shit, and he only seemed interested in punishing her and pleasing himself. She's gotten the shit beaten out of her. She went to the front desk of the hotel sobbing uncontrollably. She insisted on seeing the registration card for her room. She discovered the man she had been seeing was named John Robinson, not James Turner. She tried to call the police, but was too upset to complete the call. Luckily, the desk attendant was not upset at all, and they completed it for her. Within minutes, Detective David Brown arrives there. He's already 2 months deep into his investigation of Robinson, so he's like, couldn't be any better than this.
Thank you for your help.
He knew exactly what happened. He heard a brief version of her story, and he collected her belongings and moved her to another hotel. She explained how Robinson had beat her far beyond her desires. She said she didn't like pain or punishment or marks on her skin. She said, I'm a submissive, not a masochist.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So on March 31st, 2000, the Lenexa Police Department began searching trash left at curbside for collection at Robinson's residence. On April 4th, they found an invoice for a package Robinson sent to Glines in California. That's the woman who mailed letters postmarked from San Jose at his request. Wow. On April 25th, investigators used a trash truck with the company's permission, the trash company, and collected 3 bags of his trash. They recovered a telephone bill for service at his Lynn County property, which documented a long-distance call placed from Robinson's trailer on the morning of Troughton's disappearance.
Oh, boy.
June 2nd, a convoy of 9 police vehicles enter the grounds of the Santa Barbara Estates. The trailer park is being overrun by cops.
Santa Barbara
Estates.
How dare
you with fucking Dallas names on it. Estates. And surrounded his residence, police detectives placed a dumbstruck John Robinson under arrest, charged him with sexual assault, and took him in handcuffs. So they then began executing a warrant authorizing them to search his home. They seize all of his computers. They also found a blank sheet of stationery signed by Lisa Stasi more than 15 years earlier.
Oh, why would he keep that?
In January 1985, receipts from the Roadway Inn in Overland Park showing that Robinson had checked Stasi out of the hotel on January 10th that year, the day after she disappeared with him into the snow. So they also have warrants for his mobile home and his ranch, too. They search his storage facility where he rented 2 garages. Okay, also. There they found 2 55-gallon drums. Inside the drums were the bodies of Sheila and Debbie Faith and Beverly Bonner. 3 bodies, 2 drums.
He kept them?
He kept them for fucking years, Jimmy. This is horrifying. Wow. The second search warrant here, they bolt cutted through his lock here of a 10 by 15 foot locker at the nearby storage facility in Olathe. Inside, they found a trove of items linking Robinson to Suzette Trouden, who's now missing for 2 months, Isabella Lewicka, who'd not been seen since the previous August. There was Isabella's Kansas driver's license, photographs of Lewicka nude in bondage, 6-page slave contract listing 115 rules, sexual and otherwise, she had to obey, and a pillowcase and several BDSM sex implements.
Oh, boy.
They searched his storage unit there. They found all this type of shit. They found Trouton's contact list with all their mailing addresses. They also found 42 envelopes pre-addressed to members of Trouton's family.
What?
Along with 31 pieces of pastel-colored stationery with "Love You, Suzette" signed at the bottom.
That's fucked up.
For years, he was going to keep doing this.
Yeah.
That's wild. The envelopes were pre-addressed, which is crazy, with S. Trouton as the written as the return address.
Is he still getting checks at this point, too?
I don't think so. No, I think they stopped. There were also several, because she went missing, so
right.
There were also several letters with generic greetings, such as "Hi, Dad" or "Hi, Mom," handwritten at the top of the stationery. Oh, my God. Also, the pictures, the slave contracts, like we talked about. At his ranch, remember his ranch he bought there, the 16 acres, with the help of a cadaver dog, they found more 55-gallon chemical drums.
No.
They find 2 of them, and inside of them are Suzette Trouten and Isabella Lewicka. They are 2 yellow 55-gallon metal barrels near a tool shed across from his house. Right there, sitting right there. They're just out in the open, just to the south of a wooden shed located several yards to the southwest of the trailer on the property. They opened the barrels and confirmed each contained the remains of a human body. They said inside one was a female body, nude, with its head down, immersed in about 14 inches of liquid, the result of decomposition. This is just seep. They opened a second barrel and saw first a pillow and a red and green pillowcase. Pulled that out and found another female body, this one clothed, also soaked in the fluids of its own decaying. Photographed and fingerprinted both barrels and left the contents inside. Using a black magic marker, they labeled the barrels Unknown 1 and Unknown 2.
Jeez Louise.
Now, the probation officer, remember Hames?
Yeah.
A detective telephoned Steve at home that day to say, "Holy shit, what we found at your boy's place here."
This is crazy.
He wanted Hames to know before it was in the newspapers. Hames said, "It confirmed what I had always believed, but the move from theory to reality was chilling." Yeah. So the bodies here, they go to the medical examiner's office. A deputy coroner here looks at the barrel marked Unknown 1. Across the face of the body in there, he found a large swatch of cloth secured by a rope around the head, a blindfold. The hair was tied up in an 18-inch ponytail. There were several rings on the body, one on a little finger, one on a ring finger, one through piercings on each nipple, and 5 rings through piercings in and around the genitalia.
That's that Trouton chick.
That's very specific, yeah. They pointed out the woman had received a massive blow, probably with a large hammer, to the left side of the head between the forehead and the temple. The skull was fractured, and a circular section of it was actually driven into the brain.
Why?
The woman could have died from any of the causes of bleeding, damage to the brain tissue, or swelling of the brain following the blow.
Yeah.
Unknown, too, is Lewicka. She also died from a blow to the left side of the head that fractured her skull. They said it appeared to be 2 blows overlapping, forming an oval indentation. The left side of her jaw had also been fractured. No signs she'd been able to defend herself. So they're either tied up or...
Yeah. He's a monster.
That's Suzette and Isabella. The other one here, wow, this is fucking crazy. They found the barrels, the other place, the first one we talked about here, after this is at the Store More for Less in Raymore.
Wow.
The back of the locker, they saw barrels. First one was black and sealed with a gray lid. They opened it and discovered a body. The 2 other barrels were located in the front of the black barrel. They were covered in a large plastic sheet, and cat litter had been sprinkled around the outside of the barrels inside the plastic. Some of the litter appeared to have absorbed a dark fluid. The barrels were wrapped together with 2 additional pieces of plastic sheeting held up with pieces of duct tape. They developed 4 latent fingerprints of value from that sheeting. They matched Robinson. The officers did not open the second and third barrels, suspecting they too contained, obviously, probably human remains. They said, there are barrels and there's going to be bodies in them. You've got to come back, he told them. So they bring those people. They empty the locker of everything else but the barrels. A crime lab technician opened the barrel. The first thing he saw was a light brown sheet, a pair of glasses, and a shoe. He removed the sheet and grasped the shoe, only to find it was attached to a leg.
Oh, God damn it.
It just came off. It was decided to reseal the barrel and take all this shit to the medical examiner's office. All this content's not shit, it's people.
It's evidence is what it is.
One of the barrels was leaking fluid, and it was feared that the bottom might have corroded and would give way when lifted.
No.
Yeah, a police officer was sent to a nearby Walmart to purchase 3 children's plastic wading pools.
Oh, Jesus.
They were slipped on. There's a Dora the Explorer fucking kiddie pool with corpses in it.
Jesus Christ. Bet the maker of that never expected this thing to be used to hold a human soup
Jesus
together.
Christ.
Jesus fuck.
The chief medical examiner in Kansas City, a veteran of 3,800 autopsies, he opened it and said, quote, when they opened those barrels, this is one of the cops that was there, I've been around a lot of homicide scenes and I've smelled pretty old decaying bodies, but they've been exposed to the open air. These had been in the barrels, and man, it was an extraordinarily strong smell and very uncomfortable. The first body fully clothed. Second body was a T-shirt reading California State of Mind. In the mouth was a denture broken in half. The third was the body of a teenager wearing green pants and a silver beret. No defensive wounds. None of the victims able to defend themselves. So that is Beverly Bonner, Sheila, and Debbie Faith. So now we found 5 people. Bodies all had multiple injuries to the head caused by blunt force trauma consistent with infliction by a hammer. Any number of the blows could have been fatal, they said. Debbie Faith here, they said the body was fully clothed and the subject was wearing an adult disposable diaper, so we know it's her.
Wow.
They believe the victim was a teenager because x-rays revealed that several growth discs had not closed.
Unbelievable.
Holy shit. His family supports him.
What?
Oh, yeah. A few days after his arrest, a spokesman for his family issued a written statement saying, and I quote, we have never seen any behavior that would have led us to believe that anything we are now hearing could be possible. While we do not discount the information that has and continues to come to light, we do not know the person whom we have read and heard about on TV. John Robinson is a loving and caring father and husband. We wait with each of you for the cloud of allegations and innuendo to clear, revealing at last the facts.
Innuendo?
His lawyer said, I resent the fact that people are now claiming that Mr. Robinson either directly or indirectly is a serial killer. They found 5 bodies.
They get 5 drums.
There you go. You're already past serial killer. Yeah. He complained that Robinson's being held on $5 million bond and maximum security. His family, he's got a wife and at least 2 grown children. He issue a statement saying they're horrified. As each day has passed, the surreal events have built into a narrative that is almost beyond comprehension. While we do not discount the information, all of that shit, they're saying this is bullshit.
That's crazy.
Now, baby Tiffany.
What about her? Yeah,
remember baby Tiffany? Yeah, it's now 2000. She's, 17 years old.
Fuck.
Donald and Helen begin to question the identity of Helen's birth mother. Heather's birth mother? Was she really someone who killed herself? Law enforcement compared her footprints to known footprints of Tiffany and found the prints matched.
God damn it.
June 21st.
Gave away a murder victim's I mean, if there's a silver lining, he couldn't kill a child.
He did, at least a baby. Because he could get money for that baby. That's why. If no one wanted the baby, he'd have just killed the baby, thrown it in a barrel. Yeah. But that was $5-6 grand he was getting there. Wow. June 21st, 2000. A former acquaintance of John says that John may have been a member of a cult involving bondage, rape, and torture. According to this, it was Robinson's job in their cult to recruit women. These women were raped and tortured. The witness, who remains unnamed, saw Robinson participate in 3 Kansas City area rituals where no one was killed, but the women were tortured extensively, sometimes even carving the face and abdomen of the victims and cutting off body parts. June 26th here, they have kind of all the bodies ID'd at this point. October 12, 2000, search of the apartment fuck pad that he rented there at Edgebrook Apartments that Lewicka lived in. They found hundreds of small reddish-brown spots on the wall of one bedroom that are blood. Really? That would be smashing someone's skull and having their... that's a lot. The blood spots were roughly circular, less than 1 millimeter in diameter. That's spatter. The pattern of stains ran from the floor to the ceiling at approximately 4 to 5 feet in width, from the middle of the south wall all the way to the east wall, with the highest concentration at waist to chest level.
Cast off.
Holy shit.
Gross.
Wow. That's insane. He had, by the way, told his publishing broker that he needed a new graphic designer because he had to fire Lewicka because she had been caught smoking marijuana and deported.
Oh, so I don't even know where she is. She's deported. February 5th, 2001, the preliminary hearing of charges, which include 2 capital murder charges for Suzette and Isabella, 2 counts of fraud, 54 forgery charges, aggravated kidnapping of Suzette, and all other charges brought forth back in 2000. Probation officer said, "I've dealt with a wide variety of characters, but never anyone like Robinson. He's just chilling. There are so many sides to him. There's the con man after money. There's the murderer. There's the sexual deviant. There's the cover-up artist, the lies, the endless lies. The body collector. That's crazy.
Collector. Tell me BTK didn't fantasize about being this guy. This is exactly what he wanted. Exactly.
Really gross things, but he's like
That's
hanging
what he wanted.
on to the bodies is crazy.
That's crazy, but this is exactly what BTK fantasized about doing. He tried it with his wife. She wasn't into it.
Yeah.
So January 2003, got to speed through this here. The state's capital murder theory in counts 2 and 3 was that Robinson killed Suzette Troughton and Isabella Lewicka, along with Sheila and Debbie Faith, Beverly Bonner, and Lisa Stasi, and that these killings were all connected, constituting parts of a common scheme or course of conduct, characterized by luring women with offers of employment, exploiting them financially, sexually, or otherwise, killing them and disposing of their bodies in a similar manner, and concealing the crimes through the act of deception and fraud. So they said that also there's tons of other crimes along the way. Obviously, we just gave you all the evidence in this episode here. The letters, too, they examined the envelopes that Troughton's family had received and said they're consistent with the ones that were mailed from Veracruz.
Sure.
Okay, verdict comes in guilty of lots of murder.
Yeah. Incredibly.
Judge comes up here. This is Judge John Anderson III. He's like, from a John III to a John III, I'm about to fuck you good. He said,
a couple of John Robinsons.
You, sir, may fuck off 2 death penalties.
Okay.
And a life sentence for Lisa Stasi.
Not bad.
Additionally, sentenced him to another 246 months in prison for the aggravated kidnapping of Troughton, 7 months for the theft of the sex toys. A life sentence with parole eligibility after 15 years for the first-degree premeditated murder of Stasi, and a pre-sentencing guideline sentence of 5 to 20 years, or a post-sentencing guideline sentence of 13 months for the aggravated interference with Stasi's parental custody.
Yeah. And don't you
Death penalty.
Don't you dare think we forgot about the theft of the dildos. You'll be doing that time
theft.
first.
He's got how many bodies more are out there that we haven't found?
God.
And there were, yeah. So he also faced a legal dilemma in Missouri where prosecutors were actively pursuing additional murder charges based on the evidence discovered in that state as well. His attorneys opposed his extradition because Missouri is far more aggressive in the actual doling out of capital punishment. Like Kansas, you'll get sentenced to death, but they won't kill you. Whereas Missouri, they kill people. So they said that Kansas has yet to execute anyone since reinstating the death penalty statute at the time. However, the Missouri prosecutor insisted a condition of any plea bargain that Robinson lead authorities to the bodies of Lisa Stasi, Paula Godfrey, and Catherine Clampett. Since doing so would have constituted a tacit admission of guilt, which could have been used against him in Kansas, he said no. So, but the prosecutor faced pressure to make a deal because his case was not really that airtight. So they were like, we don't even have bodies. So among the issues, there's no unequivocal evidence that any of the murders had actually been committed within the jurisdiction, which is number one. What you have to prove is, was it corpus delicti or whatever the fuck. So when it came, when and where, that they're dead and they're here. When it became clear that the woman's remains would never be found without Robinson's cooperation, a compromise was reached. In a carefully scripted plea deal in October 2003, he acknowledged that Koster had enough evidence to convict him of capital murder for the deaths of Godfrey, Clampett, Bonner, and the Fates. Though his statement was technically a guilty plea, it was accepted as such by the Missouri court. It was notably devoid of any contrition or specific acceptance of responsibility. So there's that. 2005.
Yeah.
Nancy finally files for divorce.
What?
Remember when I said when I tell you when it's over, you're going to go, holy shit, she's still around? 2005.
Lady.
5. You know what she cited? Incompatibility and irreconcilable differences. My husband's a serial killer, because that should be a fucking slut.
He likes to beat tits, and I don't like it.
Holy shit. 2006, Lisa Stasi's daughter, Heather Tiffany, filed a civil suit against Truman Medical Center in Kansas City and social worker Karen Gaddis, contending that Gaddis told John Robinson about Stasi and her newborn daughter in 1984 after he told her he was looking for women for a fictional home for unwed mothers and of, quote, white babies. In 2007, Heather and the hospital reached a settlement for an undisclosed sum, which Robinson said she would split with her biological grandmother, Patricia Sylvester. Holy shit. So she ended up getting paid for that anyway. But I mean, she grew up an undisclosed amount. Tons of books and shows about this guy.
Yeah.
Tons of books and shows. I mean, he's obviously a creepy sex person. So, creepy sex killer.
You put BDSM. Why?
Yeah.
I mean, it's because it's weird, obviously.
And people are interested. They're curious about what's going on.
Getting tied up, getting levitated.
Yeah. What's
and
going on
beaten.
there?
How do you... That hurts. How do you come? That's crazy.
They either get hard or get fascinated how other people get hard doing this. Either one.
Yeah.
2014, Windows on Death Row, which is a cartoon thing where they're basically publishing like cartoons that people on death row draw.
Oh.
No. He writes a letter. It's fucking ridiculous, man. He said about 2,500 plus cartoons drawn over the past 12 years, included his information about 2 books, Journey of Hope, a 302-page book of articles, poems, short stories, and humor that takes the reader into death row and allows them to feel the full scale of loss and emotions of those on death row. The second book, Common Sense Thoughts on the Christian Lifestyle, a 160-page book which contains 24 lessons written specifically for prisoners at the request of a prison ministry. Is he out of his fucking mind? Yeah. Here are his cartoons that he drew. They're not bad, unfortunately.
Oh, no, that's great.
It says 71 years old, 11 years in this 10 by 7 foot cell in solitary confinement, no human contact, delay after delay of my appeal. I think that might just justify a little depression. And there's a rat down there that goes, "Hey, I'm still your buddy. Got anything to eat?" So that's what's going on here. There's all of them. God shows his sense of humor in the end. Wow. That's him. He drew a picture. He makes himself like a harmless
a golf guy, just a guy that's got a tea time.
Yeah. Here's him, political statements. Yeah. America's prison industrial fucking complex with the dollar on there. A judge. Okay. Yeah, the judge found he's got a fair trial. A rat and a weasel. Low Life Scams Inc., it says.
Rat and a weasel. Very nice.
They're complaining about people that write to prisoners and then sell the letters they get back. That's what they're doing. The rat says that's pretty disgusting, even by my standards. Yeah. Never forget, Jesus. I was a death row prisoner too.
Jesus.
How many women did Jesus stuff in fucking metal barrels, Jimmy? Do you remember what that said in the Bible about how many? I don't remember the exact number. Then he's Rush Limbaugh here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's got a Rush Limbaugh thing, and apparently doesn't like Rush Limbaugh. So he appeals in 2015 on a bunch of bullshit. It's mainly legal maneuverings, but they're like, get the fuck out of here. People wore roll out the barrels of evidence t-shirts outside the courtroom. He was complaining about that. So he's currently in El Dorado Correctional Facility. He's over 80 years old. He's almost 82 years old, and he's still alive sitting on death row.
He's still doing it?
He's still there. He's still alive, still on death row.
What the fuck? How? Why?
It's crazy. By the way, a lot of information, and this is very specific information, came from, because a lot of it is in a lot of locations, but some came from serial killer J.R. Robinson's sinister alter ego, an article in Vanity Fair by David McClintock. I want to give that author credit because he did interviews and did a lot of work on that shit. So thank you for that.
81 years old.
Yep, he's there. Going to be 82 in December on the 27th.
My God.
That is Lenexa, Kansas, everybody. Got to buzz through the end here. Yeah. Please, I hope you liked it. If you did, tell everyone about it. Get on whatever app you're on. Give us 5 stars. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Tickets to everything. Virtual live show, 4/19. It's the 4/20 virtual live show.
It's going to be great.
They're doing it on the 19th. You can watch it anytime for 2 weeks after that. Watch it 100 times, buy it, whatever. Costumes, this, that, anywhere in the world with internet. Also get your tickets for regular live shows. Chicago in May. You're up next, baby. Well, St. Louis is up next, but they've already sold out. You got to catch up to St. Louis, Chicago. Let's do this shit. Do that for the rest of the year. They're selling out quick. Shutupandgivememurder.com. Follow on social media at Small Town Murder on Facebook or on Instagram at Small Town Pod on Facebook. Follow us on either of those. Hang out with us there. Patreon.com/crime and sports. All your bonus material. Anybody $5 a month or above. You get everything, including old stuff, new ones every other week. This week for what you're going to get for crime and sports, more sports songs for that bonus, which is hilarious. Then for Small Town Murder, a schemin' scamming New York guinea from the 80s, Louis Carlucci, known as Con Juan. We're going to talk about him. Big time con man going around alter egos and different fucking names and everything else. He's crazy. Patreon.com/crime in sports. And you get a shout out.
Oh, you bet.
Which is right fucking now. Jimmy, hit me with the names of the people who would never, ever, ever, ever tie our tits in box knots and stuff us into metal barrels. Hit me with them right now.
So executive producers are Dixie Wrecked, James. Obviously, that's a real person.
Clearly.
Gary Howard, Samantha
Thanks,
Shorts, and Cindy Wilson's husband, Ken. Happy birthday,
Thank
Ken.
you, Lord. Happy
Ken
birthday
Wilson.
to Ken.
I think it's
Salute.
Wilson. I hope I got that right.
Well, salute, Ken.
She just said her husband, Ken. She didn't give a last name of Ken. She may not have taken his last name. I don't know.
Well, Ken, happy birthday either way.
Happy birthday to all those Kens out there. Other producers, Peyton Meadows, Paul Shornack, Janice Hill, Jeff with no last name, Bronwyn Touche, or Touch It. I don't know.
Or Touch It. That could be it.
Chrissy Tatro, Nick Baldridge, Dan with no last name, Chelsea Liswell, David Ick. Your last name is not Ick. Icky? Is it Ick?
His dad, his mother, her name was Donna Gross, so she changed it anyway. She was like, I'll take Ick over Gross.
Took his name. Spike Adalika, John Ezel, Rachel Brethauer, maybe? I don't know. Kyle Jacobs, Kevin Allman, Nicole with no last name, Olivia Kaufman, Alan Parker, Ashley Ortiz, Eric McDowell, Linda with no last name, Donna Richards, Mary Charles, Kyle Garner, Kate Blodgett, Mastriciolo.
Hey.
Master Colo? Fucking this.
Something Italian.
Hey, sounds delicious. Caitlin Hardy, David Spear, Jody Timmons, Abby Newton, Tana Smith, Rachel MC, Xavier Taggart, Elena Osterbar, Madison Duncan, Bethany with no last name, Anna Borst, Neil Shabazi, Valru with no last name, Dr. Laura Dolly, PMP, MBA, EA. I don't know what any of those are except for the business management one. That's
a lot of letters. Good for you.
Oh, administration. It's not even management, right? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what it is either. We didn't go to college, remember. We're idiots.
Michelle Wagner, Taylor M., Ted Dougherty, Camille Jones, Christine Nida, Anastasia Chambers, Jimmy Bombardo, Matt with no last name, Cameron Kovac, Simone Andronaco, Kevin Hartsock, Patricia.
The Gins are coming out of the woodwork for you today, Jim. They're
a real nightmare.
They're burning
Patricia
you up.
Carroll, Cheyenne Gray, Crystal Barber, Colm, Heffernan, Colm, Colm. That's a first name. Good for you. Michael Deloach, Pauline Crane, Jenny McGuire, Corgi Mom, Ash with no last name, Candace Harris, Nixie Nimbus, Christy Ojai, I don't know, Caitlin Brigman, Mandy Lee, Cody Reichert, Caitlin Hartman, Rachel Smith, Kathleen with no last name, Helene Jackson, Jen with no last name, James Taylor, Beefy with no last name, Amy, that's a real person, I'm sure, Amy Late, Latay, Christian with no last name, Kim Nichols, Sam Penner, Jenna Cornett, probably Jim's daughter, Jeff Severson, the better Trolka, I don't know, James Loves Perkins. Oh, that's very funny. James loves Perkins.
You know my love of Perkins. Absolutely.
Rob Wagner. PRVA, Perva. Is that a disease? I don't know. Rachel Mays, Amanda Pack, Danielle K, Scott Hazel possibly. Robin with no last name. Aaron Ferguson, Anthony Bernardo, what is that? Barnabo. All right, Barnabo. Dang with no last name. Don't be a Hobart. Lee Carter, Devin Rice, Dustin Lumley, Sarah Chamberlain, Tammy Calloway. Also, if you see out there in the wild, one Mandy Maloon, give her our best. She's not in a good way. Haley Whalen, Mo with no last name. Out. God damn it, Mandy, get it together. We're rooting on you every day.
We love you, man. Always.
Nathan Woolrab, T. Dong, James, that's probably a real person. Cody Peruzzi, Peter Jones, Rachel Olson, Melissa Johnson, Daniel Podlevsky, Crystal Cox, Yvette Ivy, Taney Hibbler, Amy B, Justice with no last name, Maria Teresa Beal. That feels like a nun somewhere.
It really does. Sister Maria Teresa Beal.
John Stretch, Jay Turnbull Sabatino, Asia Burns, Natasha Nussbaum, Ashton with no last name, Molly with no last name, Dolores with no last name, TJ Swain, Stacy Cox, Paul Gorman, Teresa with no last name, Charles Herman, Kathy, what is this? Eakin, Regina Elliott, Dakota Banks, Ashley Leffler, Samuel McJunkins, all right, Kenneth Anderson, Amanda Pung, Russell Paddock, all right, sorry about that, Heather McAfee, Devin Acevedo, Amy Wellendorf, Carol Reinheimer, AMPR. That sounds like a radio station. Brandy Hensler, Sarah Minga, Burrell, Phil Thompson, John Calamia, Tara Brennan, Kelly Fawcett, and all of our patrons. You guys are the best.
Thank you so much, everybody. All that you do for us. We can't tell you how much we appreciate it. Keep joining us week after week. You want to follow us on social media, shutupandgivememurder.com, drop-down menus. You can follow us there. Keep hanging out with us. And until next week, everybody, it's been our pleasure.
Bye.
If you like Small Town Murder, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
Are you captivated by the dark and mysterious world of true crime? Wondery Plus offers you the ultimate true crime experience with early access to new episodes, exclusive content, and a seamless ad-free listening journey. With Wondery Plus, you'll get access to hundreds of podcasts, including more than 50 true crime series like Dr. Death, the shocking true story of a trusted surgeon who brought unimaginable pain and suffering to his patients.
This was not an operation that was performed. This was attempted murder.
And there's Morbid, the hit podcast that's a lighthearted nightmare. With Wondery Plus, you get access to exclusive bonus content too, allowing you to dive deeper into the cases you love. Like in Suspect, where an ordinary Halloween party turned into a terrifying murder mystery that left its mark on the community.
This case is one of those roller coaster rides where it's like, no, he did it for sure. No, for sure he did it.
Each story is crafted to keep you enthralled, revealing the complexities and motivations behind every crime. Subscribe to Wondery Plus on the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify today. Unlock the door to a world of true crime like never before. With Wondery Plus, the best true crime stories are always at your fingertips.